Chapter 9:26. We can't be friends. Jiang Hao actually didn't understand anything. However, he was still very surprised to see the feedback. The other party did not care about anything. It seemed that she only wanted a friend. However, Jiang Hao didn't intend to be friends with her, nor did he intend to understand her. Once he got involved, there would be more danger. In the end, he just turned to leave. No one understood what Jiang Hao was thinking, but it would be a pity if he didn't beckon her. They wondered if they intended to give her a gift like with Mangu. He should have done it together last time. Bing Qing lowered her head and didn't care. To her, these people did not matter. No one understood her anyway. They could do whatever they wanted. It had nothing to do with her. When Jiang Hao left, Mu Longyu caught up with him and asked if he could help with the issue of immortality of the 12 heavenly kings. Jiang Hao gave a vague answer. The other party did not ask too much. When he returned to the courtyard, Jiang Hao began to think. It was easy to make Bing Qing speak as long as he became her friend. That was enough for her. In her opinion, her race and the great Thousand God sect were not as important as her friends. However, she wasn't mentally sane, and Jiang Hao didn't want to understand her. He would gain nothing from it. He just wanted to help the Lawless Tower. Everything had to be done under safe circumstances. If it was too dangerous, he wouldn't do it. Gu Qing's matter had caused him a lot of trouble. They even managed to spy on the heavenly fate misfortune pearl. As long as the other party was willing, he could still pry into the heavenly fate misfortune pearl. It was an extremely troublesome matter. There's no one in the underworld who doesn't respect me. I, Lord Beast, have friends everywhere I go. Everyone knows that I have the appearance of a great demon, so they all respect me, said the spirit beast. He was bragging to somebody. It was Shaoli. One bragged, and the other listened. You have so many friends, said Shaoli in admiration. When I go out, I will ask everyone if they are your friends. Many of them might be. Jiang Hao was speechless. If it wasn't Little Li, she would have made a move. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Hao got an idea. Since the spirit beast had so many friends in the underworld, he wondered if he could become Bing Qing's friend. The next morning, while the spirit beast was still sleeping, Jiang Hao carried it to the Lawless Tower. On the 5th floor, he threw the spirit beast inside. Then, he closed the door and waited. However, just as he closed the door, he heard the spirit beast shouting from inside. Master, what happened? Why do I feel that this place doesn't respect me? Jiang Hao didn't pay any attention to it. The spirit beast was probably still sleep-talking. At that moment, the spirit beast opened its eyes and looked around blankly. Master, no one responded. None of my friends are here. If you need anything, you can look for my master. However, there was still no response. The spirit beast looked around. Soon, he saw Zhuang Yuzhen and the others. Mu Longyu wasn't there, so the spirit beast was only with the 5 people. Mi Linghua was also very curious about the spirit beast. She knew that this was Jiang Hao's pet. A spirit demon? Heavenly King Hai Luo was surprised. A dire monster, if you please, said the spirit beast. My friends in the underworld all know that I, Lord Beast, am a great demon. Dire monster? Heavenly King Hai Luo sneered. A spirit beast in the peak of the Golden Core realm? I can suppress you with my little finger. The spirit beast's eyes were filled with pride. Perhaps you will never know that the one standing in front of you is the future great demon. It's the greatest honor of your life to be able to talk to me. Mi Linghua laughed. The spirit beast was really interesting. Zhuang Yuzhen didn't say anything. This spirit beast was obviously not ordinary. Otherwise, how could it appear here? The spirit beast looked left and right and finally saw Bing Qing. She was the only one who wasn't looking at it. Human, your flesh looks bitter. You eat human flesh? Mi Linghua was a little surprised. Would someone like Jiang Hao let his pet eat human flesh? Yes, I, Lord Beast, won't be happy without meat. If I don't eat human flesh, I won't be able to sleep. I know what kind of flesh a person has. You seem so particular about which flesh you like, Lord Beast. Mi Linghua looked at it curiously. Is there a big difference between the flesh of different humans? Yes, the flesh of the common people is the most bitter. The spirit beast shook his head. She is not a commoner, though. So, why do you think her flesh is bitter? Asked Mi Linghua. It's bitter. Someone as sorrowful as her has bitter flesh, the spirit beast said and sighed. Perhaps it was lying, or maybe it really believed that. However, the others were shocked. Bing Qing raised her head and looked at the spirit beast in disbelief. Her eyes were wet. "You are a great demon? You understand me?" Bing Qing asked. The spirit beast wanted to float in the air, but couldn't use its power in the lawless tower. However, it didn't affect its attitude. "My friends in the underworld all know of my potential. If you can understand me, then you are my friend. In the future, if you face any difficulties, just say my name. My friends in the underworld will help you." "Friends?" Bing Qing was stunned. Just as she was about to speak, someone suddenly walked in. It was the black-robed woman from before. As soon as she entered, she caught the beast, knocked it unconscious, and carried it out. "So what is the beast's name?" Everyone was speechless. After the spirit beast was dropped off at the spiritual herb gardens, Jiang Hao didn't pay any more attention to it. He had vaguely heard the conversation between the beast and the captives in the tower. He hadn't expected things to go so smoothly. The spirit beast had actually gotten through to Bing Qing. That's good. If there is anyone that can understand her, it's the beast. If she creates any trouble, I tell LB for the beast. Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief. He didn't know what Bing Qing planned. He didn't want to get involved without understanding everything. The only person left was the lantern bearer. He needed to find the time to appraise him. But there was nothing much to ask the lantern bearer. He had said everything that needed to be said. Days passed, and it was already early March. Jiang Hao didn't receive any news. Neither Elder Baiji nor Old Man Corpse had made any move. One of them had yet to return, and the other had yet to arrive. The Shangwan family's information had not arrived yet. Perhaps he would have to wait for the next gathering. Occasionally, he would see the people in the stone tablet chatting among themselves, but there was no relevant information. Half a month later, when he was looking at the stone tablet, he realized that Xing had obtained the sage's pages. Gue also didn't respond. That made Jiang Hao curious. Half a month later, it was early April. Elder Baiji had finally returned. She had brought someone back with her, but he wasn't sure if it was Fenghua. Old Man Corpse still hadn't appeared. However, Jiang Hao felt a little strange when he was taking care of the spirit herbs. He felt that something was wrong around him, but he could not put his finger on it. It seemed like someone was watching the surroundings. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:27. Who Killed Her? In the Spirit Herb Garden, Jiang Hao closed his eyes and carefully sensed his surroundings. His current cultivation realm was passable, and his control of power far surpassed others. He had also comprehended a lot from the Nameless Manual. Things couldn't be hidden from her. However, this time, he could only faintly sense a trace of fluctuation. It meant that the people who were spying on this place were extraordinary. However, it was vague, and he could not sense them properly. He could only pretend not to know about them and protect himself. He could only hope that the experts of the sect would notice it as soon as possible. However, why would a normal person constantly be on guard when their sect was being spied on? At that moment, some people from the Heavenly Saints sect came to the Spirit Herb Garden. They seemed to be looking for something. Their leader was a woman. These people had been here for a long time. He didn't know what they were doing. Jiang Hao kept his distance. He didn't want to have anything to do with them. It was safer this way. Fortunately, the Spirit Herb Garden did not have many visitors. Otherwise, it would be quite troublesome. These people were a little strange. Luckily, they were people with low cultivation realms. He just had to act normal. The person accompanying the leader of the group was Senior Sister Ningxian. It must have been stolen. Otherwise, how could my treasure be gone just like that? The woman sounded furious. I think we should search the storage treasures of suspicious people. That's not appropriate, said Ningxian. They have nothing to fear if they are innocent unless you already know your sect did something dirty, said the woman. Ningxian frowned. When Jiang Hao got up, he saw them. He bowed and prepared to leave. Stop, said the woman from the Heavenly Saints sect. Stop. Senior, are you calling me? Jiang Hao stopped and bowed. Her black hair reached her waist. She looked smug, as though the people around her weren't worthy of her attention. She was in the middle stage of the primordial spirit realm. It was the same realm as senior sister Ning Xian. However, she didn't think highly of senior sister Ning Xian either. Why are you leaving right when you saw us coming? Is it because you're guilty? Yu Jingxing Lian asked coldly. Jiang Hao was surprised, but he calmly said, because I'm done with my work here. Is that so? Yu Jingxing Lian said, I think you know who I am and stole my things. You're worried that you'll be exposed and have no choice but to turn around and leave. Jiang Hao didn't know what to say. Senior, you must be joking. Joking? No, I'm telling the truth. If you aren't guilty, why would you leave the moment you met us? Yu Jingxing Lian asked. Fellow disciple, you have to have evidence to accuse him like that, said Ning Xian. Evidence? If he isn't guilty, then why isn't he denying it? Yu Jingxing Lian sneered. Ning Xian frowned. I want to search his storage treasure, Yu Jingxing Lian said. If he refuses to let us, then we know he stole it. Ning Xian lowered her head. You don't dare to tell him to hand over his storage treasure? Are you involved in this too? Yu Jingxing Lian asked. At that moment, some members of the Heavenly Saints sect looked over. These people were extremely powerful, and Ning Xian had no way to deal with them. Jiang Hao sighed inwardly. However, just as he was about to speak, a woman ran in from outside. Senior sister, I found the item. She handed a strange-shaped object to Yu Jingxing Lian. Found it, Yu Jingxing Lian said as she took it. Where? It was in your room, said the woman. At that moment, Ning Xian looked at the Yu Jingxing Lian. Can I suspect you when I don't find my things, even if they haven't been stolen? Yu Jingxing Lian said indifferently. Your junior might not have stolen my things this time, but his attitude makes it seem like he has stolen them before. Even if he didn't steal this time, he definitely will next time. With that, she left with her people. Ning Xian glanced at Jiang Hao and left without saying a word. Jiang Hao looked at Yu Jingxing Lian's receding back and appraised her. He realized that she didn't have any ulterior motives. She was also one of the saintesses in the Heavenly Saints sect. The Heavenly Saints sect would support her with all their might. Jiang Hao sighed. He walked away and went back to rest. The next day, the air around the spirit herb garden became dense. There was a violent aura around it. It seemed like something had happened here. Jiang Hao wasn't surprised. He had gone out for a walk last night and saw the saintess dead in the courtyard. Someone had attacked her. After looking around, he found that the other party's storage treasure was right there, except for that one thing. This was a blatant provocation. The saintess had died at the Cliff of Broken Hearts. They were all in big trouble. The main reason was that the Cliff Master was not around, so the trouble would be even bigger. Jiang Hao wasn't sure if the benefits brought by Heavenly Saint sect would be huge enough to escalate things. As expected, the people from Law Enforcement Hall came over to investigate. They soon found Jiang Hao. They asked him some questions. Junior brother, I hope you can tell the truth. This matter can be as big or as small as we make it, said a senior sister. Jiang Hao nodded. After that, he answered their questions truthfully. The questions were mostly related to a series of questions, most of which were related to Yu Jingxing Lian and Ning Xian. Jiang Hao told her everything honestly. He felt that it was senior sister Ning Xian who did it, but he didn't say that. Not long after the people from the Law Enforcement Hall left, senior brother Bai Yi arrived. This made Jiang Hao even more curious. He also asked some questions, but most of them were about Ning Xian. Jiang Hao answered clearly. Before he left, Bai Yi asked, Junior brother, you didn't ask anyone for help? Jiang Hao looked confused. He shook his head. That's good. Bai Yi left. After a moment, Jiang Hao finally realized that Bai Yi was implying that he might have asked someone else to kill Yu Jingxing Lian. At that moment, Bai Yi found Ning Xian. Senior brother Bai, you're looking for me? Ning Xian asked. I won't beat around the bush, Bai Yi said seriously. Did you do it? Ning Xian shook her head. No, Bai Yi frowned. This matter can be treated as very serious or something minor. The Heavenly Saints sect brings great benefits. If they insist on investigating, it will be very bad for whoever did it. Senior brother Bai, you worry too much. Ning Xian shook her head. It really wasn't her. She found that the other party was dead when she arrived. Bai Yi frowned. If it wasn't Ning Xian, then who was it? When he found out about it, it was already late into the night. He had been too late. He didn't know who might have done it. That afternoon, Bai Yi was called to the law enforcement hall. He was temporarily in charge of a branch, so it wasn't easy for the people of the law enforcement hall to get hold of him. However, he was also very curious about who killed Yu Jingxinglian. Those who seemed to have a motive hadn't done it. He wondered if she had killed herself. The next day, Jiang Hao heard something outrageous. He heard that Yu Zhengxinglian had been upset because someone had tried to steal her treasure, so she had committed suicide. Jiang Hao was speechless. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 928, The Demoness Guide in Suicide. Jiang Hao thought that the saintess had seemed a little extreme, but she hadn't seemed like a person who would kill herself over something like this. After cultivating the primordial spirit realm, no matter how stupid a person was, they would not treat their own life as a joke. They were very careful because they had worked very hard to reach where they were. If the person in front of her was a soul ascension realm, return to void realm, or an immortal ascension platform cultivator, she wouldn't have talked in that way. The reason why he dared to be so arrogant was because his cultivation was lower than hers. She felt that she was superior. Would such a person commit suicide for such a small matter? Jiang Hao felt like that was impossible. He thought there might be two reasons for things having turned out this way. Firstly, the person who killed her had a high status in the sect. Secondly, the benefits brought by the Heavenly Saint sect weren't that great to let them treat the sect poorly. The people of the Heavenly Saint sect were either devout believers or complete fanatics. It was difficult to communicate with them rationally. He was waiting for Lu Xingqian. He wanted to see who had done it. Unfortunately, Lu Xingqian was nowhere to be found. This time, he did not come to meet Jiang Hao. Perhaps he went out or went to look for a remnant soul. 3 remnant souls were not enough for him to have some fun. The only place to find the remnant soul was the mines. There were countless opportunities and remnant souls there. Jiang Hao had seen one before. He just didn't know if it would enter Lu Xingqian's body. What would happen if 4 remnant souls met? Jiang Hao did not know. 3 days later, a huge battle broke out in the sect. It lasted for half a day. After that, the battle subsided. The Heavenly Saints sect was still at the Cliff of Broken Hearts, but no one knew what deal they had struck with the sect. Jiang Hao found out that the Cliff Master had returned. No one mentioned the murder of the Saintess. Around early April, the people from Heavenly Saints sect left. They didn't misbehave. Instead, they talked to everyone nicely. Some glanced at him when they saw him. Perhaps it was because of the recent incident, or maybe because of Yanhua. It had been so many years, yet these people still remembered it. The people from the Immortal Sunset sect had probably given up on him completely. Senior sister Yun Ruo's matter had almost come to an end. No matter how many people had missed her in the past, it had been more than 20 years. It was forgotten. Those who missed her were either dead or had moved on. Even if someone wanted to come after him, they wouldn't do so recklessly. At the same time, he had already reached the late stage of the Golden Core realm. They had lost the chance to attack him. The price they had to pay if they killed him would be much greater since his cultivation realm was higher than before. They were forced to let go of their grievances. Time washed away everything. The weather was warm in April. It became more and more obvious that someone was watching him. They seemed to have become much bolder because no one had noticed them. Jiang Hao felt that if this continued, the other party would appear in front of him directly. He did not know what would happen then. The only person he could think of was Old Man Corpse C. Such a person could not be taken lightly at all. In addition, the person who helped Bai Zhu fight against the cursed tree would also have such strength. He just didn't know if it was him. Senior Dan Yuan was very cautious. His people wouldn't spy on him so recklessly. The Sword Master had been so polite when he was last here. Old Man Corpse C probably didn't have the Sword Dao before him. After all, he was the only one who could read the Heaven Lock technique. But no matter who it was, he could only wait quietly. For safety, he let the Dragon Pearl absorb its power and then returned it to Shaoli. He also gave the 9 nether to her. This way, It would be much safer. The Nine Nether was afraid of the Dragon Pearl and Shaoli, so it was still obedient. At the 100 Flowers Lake, a white figure landed by the lake. A red and white figure stood in front of her. Her hair swayed gently in the wind. Baiji lowered her head. "Greetings, Sect Master." Han Yuya looked at the fish in the lake. "Where did these fish come from?" "There are all kinds of colorful fish inside. It was raised by Lord Qingyu. Later, when you took over this place, the fish were brought here," said Baiji. Han Yuya sprinkled a handful of fish feed into the lake. She asked Baiji why she was here instead. "Feng Hua is still free." Baiji lowered her head. She attacked the person and left them with an arm missing. "We captured a woman who was traveling with her." "What does Feng Hua look like?" Han Yuya walked toward the pavilion. "I didn't see her clearly. She was wearing a black robe and hiding in the dark. Her cultivation realm is inferior to mine, but she's unusually cunning," said Baiji in embarrassment. "Where is that woman and the arm?" Han Yuya sat down. Baiji followed her to the pavilion. "In the Lawless Tower." "All right." Han Yuya nodded. "Let's interrogate them then. Let's see what we can get out of them. Also, we know what Feng Hua is looking for. She seems to be looking for something that can restore her appearance. Perhaps we can use that thing to lure her out," said Baiji. "Do as you see fit," said Han Yuya. Baiji nodded. "How long have you been back?" Han Yuya asked. "Almost a month," Baiji said. "It's been a month, and you still haven't noticed?" Han Yuya looked at Baiji. "It seems that the increase in your cultivation realm has made you feel a lot more at ease." Baiji was shocked. Had she missed something? "Sect Master, please forgive me." Baiji was terrified. "Go on." Han Yuya did not say anything else. Baiji didn't dare to ask anything further. On the way back, Baiji felt uneasy. She looked around and didn't understand what the Sect Master meant. However, when she returned to White Moon Lake and carefully sensed her surroundings, she was shocked. There was something wrong with the surroundings. She immediately disappeared from the spot and began to look around the sect. Soon, she realized what was wrong. Someone was spying on the Heavenly Note sect. Their methods were extremely powerful, but she had ignored them. She began to trace the source. If the other party dared to do this, their cultivation must be very high. She needed to deal with them with all her might. At Devil's Den, a figure appeared. He stood upright. He looked very old. Realizing it only now, the people of the Heavenly Note sect are lax. Old Man Corpse, shook his head. He didn't take the Heavenly Note sect seriously at all. No one had noticed him for so long. What was there to worry about? Even if someone discovered it now, it would not be easy to trace it back to him. By the time they found this place, he would have already left. He looked around and found that this place was strange. His gaze was fixed on the innermost part of it. The Milky Way hangs upside down. "This is amazing." Old Man Corpse, looked ahead and sighed. "This starry sky is really strange. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Is it the one where the corpse realm disappeared?" He wasn't sure, and he wanted to go over and take a look. However, it seemed that he had to take a different path to get closer to the depths. The road was a little red. Old Man Corpse, didn't care. Nothing could stop him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 929. Heaven and earth changed colors, and the great Tao collapsed. Old Man Corpse, was surprised by the red spots on the path. It was a strange path. Usually, the path led straight to the depths. However, this was not enough for Old Man Corpse. He needed to go to the depths and pry into the secrets behind it, especially regarding the starry place. He was excited. This place was indeed special. Unfortunately, the Heavenly Note sect is too weak. Even if there is such a place, no one can guard it. Old Man Corpse, shook his head. This place might not even be accessible to most people in the Heavenly Note sect. Old Man Corpse, didn't think too much and walked forward. The destination wasn't a simple place, so the road leading to it wouldn't be ordinary either. As he walked forward, he felt that the road got even redder. He smelled blood. Old Man Corpse, frowned and opened the corpse. The corpse didn't change anything. Corpses appeared one after another. A powerful aura followed. Old Man Corpse C stepped forward. With the Corpse C leading the way, the danger was greatly reduced. After a while, he felt the road become more and more sticky. Is this really blood? He was a little surprised. There was fog ahead, so he couldn't know which direction he was going in. He could only use the Corpse C to break through and let the corpses lead the way. After going deeper, he felt that he was walking aimlessly. After a long time, Old Man Corpse C arrived at the flowing blood pool. He was surprised. He couldn't see far, but he was sure that he would get closer if he kept going forward. After hesitating for a moment, he let the corpse move forward. However, the corpse lost control and fell into the blood pool. Old Man Corpse C frowned. Then he released his power and walked forward. He felt great pressure on his body as he took the first step. Soon, he composed himself and took a second step. He felt the impact in his heart. He gritted his teeth and took a third step forward. However, when he took the third step, he felt all the surrounding pressure disappear. Immediately after, the monstrous blood pool began to surge. In it, he saw an illusion. Suddenly, the other party turned his head and looked over. He did not see the face of the person, but there was a pair of blood-red eyes in the sky. For a moment, the world changed colors, and everything collapsed. This pair of eyes seemed to know everything. His cultivation realm collapsed before his eyes. With just a glance, Old Man Corpse C was crushed. He spat out a mouthful of blood and wanted to use the corpse to block the path. However, his blood vessels erupted. The surrounding Corpse C evaporated, and the corpses disintegrated. An irresistible force sent him flying. At that moment, a disdainful voice sounded in his ear. You dare to take 3 steps into the blood pool. In the Heavenly Notes sect, Baiji searched for the source and finally found it near the Devil's Denver. What a powerful technique. She tried her best, but she could barely trace the source. The person was too powerful and concealed himself well. As for who it was, she had no clue. Since they dared to come in so brazenly, they were definitely someone extraordinary. Was it someone from a major sect? Or was it some powerful figure from the Heavenly Saint sect? In the South, there were very few people who would do such a dangerous thing. If they were not careful, it would cause a big problem. Without hesitation, she walked into Devil's Denver. She felt a strange aura inside. Immediately after, there was a loud explosion. Boom! Many corpses fell from the sky. Bai's heart raced. She immediately reinforced her defenses. However, everything calmed down in a breath. Countless corpses fell in front of her. What happened? Baiji moved forward. After a while, she saw a wounded, bleeding person among the piles of corpses. When she got closer, she realized that it was a middle-aged man. He was wounded, and he looked fearful. Baiji didn't know what he had gone through, but she was certain that this was the person who had spied on the Heavenly Notes sect. How can a mortal have such an ability? Moreover, the surrounding corpses did not look like they had just appeared. Without any hesitation, she took him away and cleaned up the surrounding corpses. The intruder had been found. Finally, she had an explanation she could present to the sect master. Jiang Hao sat in the courtyard. He felt strange. The spy had disappeared. However, there had been no commotion in the sect. Did someone solve it in secret? Or did that person leave? Jiang did not know. No matter what, the aftermath would either bring peace or a war. Half a month later, around mid-April, Jiang Hao still didn't sense anything untoward. He sighed in relief. It seems like the matter has been resolved. I wonder who was spying on the Heavenly Notes sect. On that day, the Lawless Tower sent him a message. He needed to head to the 5th floor. It's finally here. Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief. He had wanted to visit it, mainly to see the person that Elder Baiji had captured. They might be related to Fenghua. He had always wanted to know more about her. That way, he would have something to report to Hong Yuya. If this captive had many secrets, he wouldn't have to go out to find clues. He could use the person as an excuse to stay in the sect. He could always say he was needed for the interrogation. If he was given a few more decades, he might be able to try to become an immortal. In the afternoon, Jiang Hao left the Spirit Her Garden and headed to the Lawless Tower. On the way, he felt the stone tablet vibrate. There was a gathering tonight. The gathering was about to begin. After a while, in front of the lawless tower, he met Senior Sister Insha. Greetings, Senior Sister. Jiang Hao bowed. Junior Brother Jiang, you're too polite. There is something strange this time. Something strange. Jiang Hao was surprised. Elder Baiji caught this person. His mental condition isn't very good, said Insha. We don't have any information on him, so we can't investigate. We have no choice but to ask for your help to make him speak. No information? Jiang Hao was shocked. It really isn't Feng Hua's avatar? Who would be worthy of Elder Bai's attention? Jiang Hao thought for a moment. He had a good guess. However, he still needed to take a look first. I'll try my best, Jiang Hao said. After a while, Jiang Hao arrived at the 5th floor of the lawless tower. This time, he didn't see Heavenly King Mu Longyu. He seemed to have gone back. Mi Lingwei had been here for a few years. She was very safe here. She was not monitored or controlled. He just needed to find a spiritual core. If there was a chance, he could appraise it. Jiang Hao didn't pay much attention to it. He looked at the captives. Zhuang Yuzhen, Heavenly King Hai Luo, Mi Lingwei, the lantern bearer, and the half-dead old man. Bing Qing was gone. There was an old man in her cell. The moment he looked at him, Jiang Hao felt a wave of death aura. It was very familiar. It was him, Old Man Corpse C. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 930. Creating Immortals on the 5th floor of the Lawless Tower. It was unusually quiet. When Jiang Hao arrived, there was no sound whatsoever. After a few visits, the guard there had changed. Everyone knew why. No one dared to speak rashly. They all wanted to see why the other party was here. Jiang Hao stood in front of the 5th cell and looked at the old man. He didn't need to appraise to be sure that the person was Old Man Corpse C. At that moment, his head was lowered. There was no sign of life. His body was covered in death aura, and he looked strange. He seemed to have suffered a terrible blow. After hesitating for a while, Jiang Hao appraised him. Old Man Corpse C's avatar. Old Man Corpse C, who entered the blood pool, lost all his pride under the gaze of the evil spirit of Gujin. He lost all his cultivation and could no longer release the Corpse C. It affected his main body. Even now, he is still trapped in that gaze. He is unable to extricate herself. Staying in the lawless tower for a month will help him slowly walk out of his shadow. Jiang Hao was surprised when he saw the divine abilities feedback. Gujin? Gujin could attack others. He had entered the blood pool several times. Had he been lucky? If that was the case, he did not dare to go there again. The price of losing all of his cultivation was too terrifying. He really wanted to ask where the person had encountered Gujin. Could it be that he had entered the depths of Devil's Den? Jiang Hao had never gone further into the depths. It was safer to not visit in the future. He could not rule out the possibility that Gujin had lost control without meaning to. His mind wasn't his own. That was highly likely. Gujin had always said that he was guarding an evil spirit there. After all, as long as he was awake, the evil spirit would not appear. In the future, he could try using the clone talisman. Senior, Jiang Hao called. However, the person did not hear him at all. It seemed that he really had to wait a month to talk to him. He didn't need a rush. Jiang Hao walked up to Heavenly King Hai Luo. He looked skeptical, but slowly got up. I want to ask you a question, Jiang Hao said. Go on. The answer will depend on my mood, said Hai Luo. The Heavenly King is too arrogant for his own good. If he can't answer, I will, said Mi Lingwei. Hai Luo glanced at Mi Lingwei and said in a low voice, Little bitch. Let me do it, Mi Lingwei said. Jiang Hao nodded and then looked at Mi Lingwei. She was also from overseas, so she would know some things. Heavenly King Hai Luo was speechless. Senior, have you heard of the Shangwan family? Jiang Hao asked. The Shangwan family from overseas? The one with the 100 Nights curse? Mi Lingwei immediately thought of the curse. The Shangwan family is cursed. Jiang Hao asked. Yes. Whenever they are mentioned, people immediately think about the 100 Nights curse, said Mi Lingwei. That curse was very strange. It would take effect only after a period of time. It has caused the Shangwan family to get stuck. They are unable to grow. They tried many methods, but they couldn't get rid of the curse. If they didn't have magic treasures, high attainments in array formations, and the ability to control beasts, they would have been exterminated on the day the curse first acted up. Mi Lingwei sighed. Who could withstand the curse of the entire clan? They also thought of nurturing others to protect their race. Unfortunately, it brought disaster. In the end, they chose their subdued beasts and barely survived. It's quite difficult for them to trust outsiders, Mi Lingwei said. Jiang Hao was even more certain that this race was the longevity race. What does their clan usually do to counter that? Jiang Hao asked. They grow in secret. They occupy a place and stay there. They want to extend their influence. In any case, they were ignored overseas. They didn't harm anyone and didn't want anybody to interfere with their clan. Even if they are ambitious, the 100 Knights curse holds them back. Senior, have you ever met the Shangwan family? Jiang Hao asked. I have. Mi Lingwei nodded. What kind of people are they? Normal people like anyone else. Normal? Jiang Hao thought for a moment. He wasn't a bad person, but he wasn't a good person either. He nodded. Junior brother Jiang, aren't you going to ask me anything? The lantern bearer suddenly asked. Jiang Hao looked at him. He didn't know what the lantern bearer wanted him to ask. Aren't you curious about my condition? Jiang Hao recalled the thing the lantern bearer had given him. It was no use to him. Very few people know more about the great Thousand Gods sect than I do. Perhaps I still have value? The lantern bearer smiled. For example, the great Thousand Gods sect is going to stir up a storm overseas. This storm is called the Nine Nether. What do you mean? Mi Lingwei didn't understand. The Nine Nether is a vicious creature that feeds on spirit energy, the lantern bearer said. The others still could not understand. After a while, a dragon cave will be discovered overseas. Only primordial spirits can enter the dragon cave, said the lantern bearer. The great Thousand Gods sect wants to use this opportunity to absorb the primordial spirits of powerful cultivators. Mi Lingwei. But the people overseas aren't stupid. They won't jump into such a trap. What if it really is the dragon cave? The lantern bearer asked. Mi Lingwei was speechless. If it was true, it would be difficult to tell that it was a trap. Even if they all died after entering, no one would suspect the great Thousand Gods sect. What does the great Thousand Gods sect want? Mi Lingwei asked. This time, the lantern bearer did not speak. Heavenly King Hai Luo sneered. What else? They want to create immortals. The lantern bearer was a little surprised. Ah, a heavenly king is indeed really a heavenly king. Mi Lingwei didn't understand, and even Zhuang Yuzhen was shocked. However, they did not say much. Jiang Hao didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he bowed and bid them goodbye. He had heard something unbelievable. The great Thousand Gods sect wanted to make a move on some people overseas with the goal of creating immortals. It seemed that the Saint Bandits and the great Thousand Gods sect were not simple at all. Everyone had their own plan. On the other hand, the fallen immortal clan seemed rather ordinary. They just wanted to restore their clan to their former glory. Back in the courtyard, Jiang Hao saw the spirit beast sharing food with Shaoli. Senior brother Jiang, we've left something for you to eat, said Shaoli when she saw him. Shaoli handed him a chicken thigh. He took a bite and found that it wasn't poisonous. It didn't taste bad either. He was a little surprised. Where did they get the chicken? Today, my friends in the underworld knew that I was hungry, so they offer me this. Can you speak clearly for once? A chicken appeared. B said it was hungry, so it caught the chicken. We cooked it. Jiang Hao was speechless. How did a chicken suddenly appear in a place like this? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:31. I wonder if I can ask for an identity of someone in the immortal sect. Jiang Hao looked at the chicken thigh carefully. He hadn't seen the chicken, so he couldn't tell what breed it was. But if it had appeared here, it must have been raised by someone. He hoped that the person would not come looking for him. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. It was better to set the spirit beast and Shaoli free so that he didn't need to deal with things like these. He needed to let them know not to mention his name if someone came looking for the chicken. He was finally going to advance. It had been more than 10 years. He returned to his room and began to sort out the news he had received today. What happened at the Great Thousand God sect really surprised him. There was no beef between him and the Great Thousand God sect. However, Feng Hua belonged to that sect, and the stone tablet was also created by someone from there. In addition, there was the matter of creating immortals. They were planning to kill people in the Dragon Cave to harness their cultivation. That might easily create a huge commotion. If he got too involved, it would affect him and the sect. As for how long it would last, he did not know. He had to seize the time to become stronger. Jiang Hao noticed that Xiao Li and the beast had finished their food, but they still seemed to be hungry. When the moon rose, Xiao Li went home. The spirit beast was sleeping in front of the heavenly fragrance Dao flower. He seemed to be dreaming of a flying chicken. Late at night, Jiang Hao listened to the chirping of the insects around him, and his mind became calm. He had already prepared everything and was just waiting for the gathering to begin. He didn't know what information he could get from the gathering, but he just needed to maintain a good impression at the gathering. Perhaps in a few years, he would not have to be so cautious all the time. After becoming powerful, he would not have to worry about many things. However, it was not that simple. He had created a very mysterious person of himself. The recent events emphasized it even further. He had borrowed Hong Yui's power many times to accomplish many things. If he wanted to maintain the mysterious and powerful image he had built of himself, he needed to reach Hong Yui's cultivation realm. At midnight, Jiang Hao entered the stone tablet. He wanted to see what these people were doing and whether it would affect him. Many things were happening overseas, so he had to pay attention to them. However, nothing had happened in the north so far. Maybe they just didn't know about the events in the north because no one was from the north in the gathering. There was no way of knowing if something had indeed happened there. After entering the public space, Jiang Hao took his usual seat. The others also arrived one after another. There were 5 people in total. Senior Dan Yuan sat in the front, as usual. After greeting Senior Dan Yuan, they sat cross-legged on the floor. Dan Yuan was the first to ask about their cultivation. No one spoke. Then, let's talk about the matter at hand. Dan Yuan looked at Gue. Friend Gue, are you ready? My people should arrive any moment. I'm almost ready, said Gue. I can head to the Heavenly Notes sect once I get the Sage's pages. I just don't know if Old Man Corpse C will have any effect on me. There had been no news from the Heavenly Notes sect lately. Gue did not know what Old Man Corpse C had done and how that would affect the rest of them. Old Man Corpse C has already entered the Lawless Tower, Jiang Hao said. He was surprised that Senior Dan Yuan didn't have a task this time. They directly went ahead with the trading phase. He is in the Lawless Tower? Gue was surprised. He went there willingly? Jiang Hao didn't explain. It would have been extremely difficult to capture him. But Old Man Corpse C had chosen to visit the blood pool and dug his own grave. Gu Jin was not mentally stable. It was surprising that Old Man Corpse C had survived after that attack. The Sage's pages are still with Jing. Dan Yuan asked. He didn't take Old Man Corpse C's matter to heart. He had done his best anyway. Yes. Jiang Hao nodded. What price do I have to pay to see them? Dan Yuan asked. Jiang Hao knew that it would be his people who would come for the pages. I haven't thought of it yet. He'll leave it for later. Dan Yuan nodded. Then he looked at Gue. He'll give it to him when I meet him. What is the content of the pages? Liu asked curiously. Gue looked at Xing. It's strange, said Xing helplessly. I saw the words, heaven rewards the diligent, or something along that line, said Gue. And then, Zhang was curious. I forgot. Gue was puzzled. Jiang Hao was surprised. He felt the same way. It was as if he had forgotten everything he had read in the Sage's pages. According to Hong Yuye, the pages had been taken away. Everyone was surprised. Before, they weren't that curious about the pages, but now they couldn't remember anything. However, they didn't stall for long and continued the trade. Friend Jing, do you have any other plans for them? Zhang asked. She was referring to the 2 people. Are they already at the academy? Jiang Hao asked. Zhang nodded. She's working, and the child is studying in a school. But the injury to their spirit is great. It'll take a lot of time and medicine to cure them. Jiang Hao nodded. That's all from my side. There was no need for him to do more. They would work hard on their own. He just needed to give them a chance. If they didn't work hard even after being given the chance, then why bother with something more? Then they'll consider the deal as fulfilled, said Jiang. She looked at him. She seemed to be waiting for confirmation. All right, Jiang Hao nodded. She had done well. This matter was bigger than him, just cleaning those graves for her. Friend Jing, the things you wanted have been prepared, Lu said. With the help of Senior Dan Yuan, Jiang Hao received the information on the stone slab. He memorized it. The gathering went on. Xing looked at Lu. I need an overseas identity. It's best if it's from the Heavenly Spirit tribe. When do you want it? Lu asked. In the next 2 years, Xing said. Everyone knew that Xing was going overseas to do something important. Lu thought for a moment and nodded. After that, he asked Lu what he needed in exchange. Lu asked for an unorthodox spell technique of the Bright Moon sect. It was called the Light of Fireflies. It was a spell that could accumulate strength. Once they started accumulating, they couldn't be used. Only those who wanted to break through would need to accumulate so much strength. The moment he used it, all the accumulated strength would run out instantly. It was almost a waste to use it in that way. Jiang Hao was a little tempted by the prospect of getting a new identity so easily. He could have asked for a new identity when he went to the West. Gu Jin's influence had been just too great. He had the identity of smiling San Sheng to use overseas. Perhaps he could use the new identity when he went to the East or North someday. I wonder if I can ask for the identity of someone in the Immortal Sect. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 932. What is inside the Dragon Cave? Jiang Hao didn't make any further deals. However, he had even more things to do. It seemed that the more people he got involved with, the more trouble followed. He might end up provoking more people too. After meeting Gu Jin, he encountered a lot more trouble than necessary. Lu Mantian of the West, for one. Then, there was Gu Changsheng, who was now the backer of the longevity race overseas. They were all people he needed to be cautious of. As he traded with the people in the gathering, he felt like he was getting closer to whoever was behind the stone tablets. He was a little worried. If he found that person one day, would Hong Yuya still keep him around? He would be of no more value to her. He needed to advance as soon as possible. The middle stage of the Immortal Ascension platform didn't give him a sense of security. His realm was considered powerful only in the Heavenly Note sect. In other places in the south, he would just be ordinary. It was even more common in the east, west, and the north. There were far more powerful people there. He no longer felt smug when he thought about that. He needed to be humble and work hard to climb the ladder. He had to look far and keep going. Only then would he become powerful. I want news about the Saint Bandits. If you have a way to contact them, please tell me, said Gue. The others nodded. Saint Bandits were the most mysterious and difficult to contact. They hid in the dark and waited for an opportunity to strike. Jiang Hao could have helped, but the one who was a part of Saint Bandits had left the Lawless Tower. I want to find a dragon that I can communicate with. I want to ask about the dragon race, said Jiang. Chaos Stone Island does have a dragon, but I'm not sure if you can communicate with them, Lu said. Everyone knew that there were dragons on Chaos Stone Island. You can't, Dan Yuan said. Everyone was surprised. It seemed that Senior Dan Yuan had been there. Jiang Hao was a little disappointed. He couldn't communicate with that dragon either. He also wanted to find a dragon and ask them some things. But there were none like that. Shally did not mention anything about dragons. The one with the Xinyuan word had yet to appear. He hadn't even met Lu Xingchen lately. From the looks of it, communicating with the Dragon Clan was more difficult than expected. That was about the end of the trading session. After that, they talked about recent events. Has anything happened overseas recently? Xing asked. Other than the matter of the 12 heavenly kings, nothing strange has happened. There are some rumors related to the Dragon Clan, but they seem baseless, said Lu. It seems that there are many things related to dragons overseas, said Gue. Jiang Hao was silent for a moment. Something big might happen overseas soon. Everyone was puzzled. Jiang Hao didn't keep them in suspense. I heard that a dragon cave is going to appear overseas. Only those with primordial spirits will be able to enter the cave. Dragon cave? Gue was curious. What's in the dragon cave? She had been to the dragon nest before, so she felt that there was a similar treasure in the dragon cave. Jiang Hao raised his eyebrows at Gue. There's a trap in the dragon cave. Everyone was shocked. What did he mean? What trap was there in the dragon cave? This news is from the Great Thousand God Sect, said Jiang Hao. The Great Thousand God Sect. Lu frowned. Primordial Spirit Realm. The Great Thousand God Sect wants the primordial spirits of people overseas. They want to set the trap in the dragon cave? Many experts can detect if there are dragons inside or not, said Gue. Zhang calmly said, the Great Thousand God Sect must have thought of that as well. If the dragon cave is really a trap, there's a high chance that the dragon cave is the real deal. I don't think it's true, Xing said. I think we'll get some real benefits from it. Besides, the Great Thousand God Sect can't kill us all. Most powerful people could obtain the benefits, while others just became stepping stones for the strong. The Great Thousand God Sect is planning something big. They might even enter first and then pretend to have suffered heavy losses. Jiang Hao was surprised. These people thought about every possibility. Gue liked to ask many questions. She never shied away from asking important questions. Many times, she was needed to solve issues that others couldn't. The gathering would not be useful without her. She always asked questions and got an answer. What does the Great Thousand God Sect want? Gue asked. Everyone knew about the Great Thousand God Sect, but they didn't know what they were up to. Jiang Hao didn't respond. The matter of creating immortals was of great importance, so it was better not to mention it for the time being. Seeing that no one responded, Gue talked about other matters. I received news that the Heavenly Note Sect and the Heavenly Saints Sect are cooperating. It's very strange. The Heavenly Saints Sect wants to help attack Azure Mountain, while the Heavenly Note Sect will help to suppress the Heavenly Spirit Tribe in exchange. Jiang Hao was baffled. What benefits were there in doing so? The Grand Earth Emperor has brought quite a lot of benefits to the Black Heaven Sect. Perhaps in a few years, the Black Heaven Sect will rise to great heights. It's possible that it can become a great sect, said Xing. Many things have been happening in the West. It's possible that the one with the Heavenly Tao Foundation establishment is there, and she is getting closer to the one with great fortune, said Zhang. I heard that there's another senior in the backyard of the Astronomical Academy. His name is Jean. Jiang Hao was speechless. Zhang felt that it had something to do with him. The immortal seed of the fallen immortal clan is about to bloom. They are preparing near the sea, Dan Yuan said. It might not happen for many years. Jiang Hao frowned. If the fallen immortal clan returned, they would rise over other races. Xing lowered his head in thought. At the Black Heaven Sect, Su Bai walked out her room in the VIP area. He sighed and looked at the sky. Looks like I have to speed up the process. At that moment, pages appeared in his hand. They were the sage's pages. Unlike Gue, he had used the sect's treasure to pry into the sage's pages. He did not see the words on it all. It gave him a feeling of emptiness and nothingness. It was difficult to describe. He had clearly grasped it, but it had disappeared right after. It seemed he had gotten his hands on the sage's pages too late. In the end, he decided to give them away. What does the heavens reward those who work hard? Su Bai didn't think too much about it. He wasn't there to find out the secret behind the sage's pages. He just wanted to read what was in it. He looked in the direction of the Heavenly Note Sect and laughed at himself. I'm finally leaving, but I feel so calm. That thing is giving me a lot of stress. It is no wonder people there are always so bitter. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 933. I thought you were a 300-year-old woman when Jiang Hao woke up. The sky was covered with dark clouds. It was going to rain. It rarely rained in the Heavenly Note Sect. Spiritual energy gathered here, and normal weather did not affect people coming in. It did not even snow in winter. Even if it did, it was only a little. Jiang Hao sat on a chair on the balcony and looked up at the sky. The wind was howling. Without hesitation, he took out a book and began to write the information he had gotten about the Shangwan family. Compared to what he had learned from the Lawless Tower, Liu's information was more comprehensive. It had everything about their origin, the famous people in their clan, their current leaders, and their names. There were names of people who were supposed to be their allies. There was also information about the difficulties faced by the Shangwan family. He even provided an identity of the Shangwan family. Jiang Hao hadn't expected that. Other than that, there wasn't much news from a gathering. The rise of the Black Heaven sect was almost inevitable, and everyone anticipated it. In addition, Xing was going overseas to look for the Heavenly Spirit Tribe's treasure to suppress the fallen immortal clan and become an immortal race again. Jiang Hao would help with such matters. The Heavenly Spirit Tribe, the Heavenly Saint sect, and the fallen immortal clan were not ordinary clans. Their rise to power would shake the world. Once their influence was too great, it would be easy to start a fight. In addition, the fallen immortal clan might come looking for him or Shaoli. He couldn't handle it, so he tried not to get involved as much as possible. Next was the Dragon Clan. The dragons that were currently known were unable to communicate with humans. In fact, there was quite a lot of information about the dragons. Unfortunately, all of it was useless. Shaoli was the most communicative dragon he had ever seen. Unfortunately, she had lost her memory. He had already told them about the Great Thousand God sect, but he didn't know what Lu would do. They couldn't let the Great Thousand God sect succeed. It would not benefit the Heavenly Tower in any way. He thought about it briefly. Jiang Hao felt that he should pay more attention to Gui and see what she would do next. The West wasn't worth paying attention to. At most, he would only be able to find out what realm the one with Heavenly Fragrance Dao Flower had reached. He finally understood how far Chu Chuan was from reaching her level. A moment later, he finished writing the Shangwan family's information in his notebook. Although the Shangwan family had been overseas for a long time, they were not from anywhere overseas. They came from a place called the Eastern Pole Island. Their clan had no choice but to move away. It was also at that time that the curse began to appear. Jiang Hao was surprised when he read what he had written. The Shangwan family's origin was a little strange. Furthermore, they were unable to integrate with the locals even after going overseas. Perhaps it was the curse that made them reject the outside world. The Shangwan family controls the edge of the sea realm. Although they have spirit veins, they are relatively ordinary. They have no interest in the major powers of the world, and no one fights with them. The ones who want to fight for the veins aren't their enemies. The strength of the Shangwan family wasn't bad. However, their experts slowly died away. They used to have immortals, but not anymore. Their clan's experts were slowly diminishing in number. The curse not only prevented them from growing, but also made it difficult for them to recover from their injuries. Although they had tried to nurture death warriors, it was a pity that when their cultivation surpassed them, the backlash was immense. Jiang Hao felt that the Shangwan family was really tough. It was a powerful clan that had suffered a disaster. I wonder if Gu Changsheng is related to them. Jiang Hao was curious. Or rather, he was curious if Gu Changsheng was also a member of the Longevity clan. Jiang Hao realized that the Shangwan family had thought of a way. However, no matter what they did, they could not escape the curse. They didn't even know what the curse really was. They fell into despair. The clan started attacking their surroundings, but ended up retreating. However, just as everyone felt that their clan was about to be exterminated, there was a clan member who had figured out a way to the path of immortality. He had given hope to his clan that there was still a possibility for them to reach the immortal realm. They still had hope. He had died, but the clan stopped destroying themselves. They began to think of solutions for their problem and waited. Jiang Hao closed the book before daybreak. The Shangwan family was rather ordinary overseas. Although everyone knew about them, no one was intimidated by them. The information Lu gave him had the scope of their influence and details about their leaders. Shangwan Qingsu was the most outstanding member of the Shangwan family. She had entered the Great Thousand God sect with her own strength to seek new hope. She had 2 immortal avatars and didn't have a good relationship with the clan. According to the information he had, the reason the Shangwan clan was quiet and approachable was that they were helpless. However, They had pride in their hearts and were definitely not a race that lived under others. Apart from that, Jiang Hao found out something else. The elites of the Shangwan family were at rock bottom. That was enough for Jiang Hao. As long as they could trade normally, it was fine. All right. Looking at the sunrise, Jiang Hao sighed. I could try to get in touch with Shangwan Qingsu now. Early the next morning, Bai Zhu received the sage's pages. She took a look at it, but forgot the contents right after. In fact, she had secretly shown it to Qiao Yi, but Qiao Yi couldn't understand it at all. She couldn't even read it. Princess, where are we going now? Qiao Yi asked. She wanted to make a trip back to Imperial City. After all, what they had encountered on this trip had exceeded her expectations. The two princes were unaware that their little sister had been through so much. They'll meet up with a senior before heading to the Heavenly Notes sect. Bai Zhu forced a smile. This was a big matter, and it concerned her life. She had no choice but to go. Otherwise, she might not be able to negotiate with the powerful person behind her. That would be bad. In the afternoon, Bai Zhu walked along a small village road. Some villagers were farming nearby. Annie Qiao, I'm still so young. Why do you think my life is so hard? You are more than 300 years old, said Qiao Yi. That's right. I'm indeed not a child anymore. I have to carry my own burden. I'm 18. Bai Zhu nodded. Qiao Yi looked helpless and could only nod. 18, said a voice from behind. Are you that young? I thought you were a 300-year-old woman. Bai Zhu and Qiao Yi were shocked. They turned to see a young man landing on the ground. Bai Zhu couldn't tell what his cultivation realm was, but he was definitely not an ordinary cultivator. Do I know you, senior? Bai Zhu asked. Kendo. Are you going to the Heavenly Notes sect, little girl? We might be going the same way. He smiled. Bai Zhu was stunned. The person Senior Dan Yuan had found for her had arrived. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 934. Deciphering the Sage's Pages. Kendo walked over to her. He was a person whose cultivation realm could not be seen and whose background could not be determined. Bai Zhu knew that this person was extraordinary. Senior, are you from the east? She asked. From the north, actually. Kendo smiled. Has the north been okay lately? Bai Zhu asked. They had almost no news about the north. She was very curious about whether there was anything major happening in the north. The north is quite safe, but the end of all things is quite active there. There are also Saint Bandits, said Kendo. Bai Zhu was a little surprised. The Saint Bandits are in the north. Yes, they're in hiding. It's not easy to find them. When I passed by a mountain range, I found them. I don't know what they were doing there, said Kendo. They might be planning to steal something from the end of all things. You know, the Saint Bandits don't care who you are when they steal something of yours. They even steal from immortal sections. They are very good at tricking people. Those who encounter bottlenecks in their cultivation get tricked easily. It has to be said that they are very powerful. Their method is very impressive, but not as powerful as the rumors say. Bai Zhu nodded. What is the end of all things doing in the north? They are there to break the seal on a forbidden item, said Kendo. Forbidden item? Bai Zhu was curious. Kendo shrugged. Don't look at me. I don't know what it is. There are so many things in this world, and I don't know about them. Bai Zhu was a little disappointed. If she had known about it before, she could have found out about it before the gathering. Where are the Sage's Pages? Kendo asked. Bai Zhu handed him the pages. He looked at it eagerly. He gazed at the pages in his hand. He could not help but sigh. Amazing. I didn't expect it to be so amazing. Bai Zhu was shocked. She wanted to know what he saw in them. After a while, Kendo returned the pages to Bai Zhu. Senior, what did you see? Bai Zhu asked. You won't understand even if I tell you. You're only 18 years old. You're still so young, Kendo said with a smile. Senior, please tell me. I can help you with anything in exchange, said Bai Zhu. Really? Kendo smiled and asked, Little girl, do you have spirit stones? Yes. Bai Zhu nodded. She was a little surprised that spirit stones were all he needed. Kendo extended a finger. Give me this much, and he'll tell you. 1 million? No problem, Bai Zhu said decisively. Kendo was speechless. He forced out a smile. Ha ha! a hero among women. He only wanted 100,000 spirit stones. Actually, he did not lack spirit stones. He was just trying to tease her. However, he didn't expect her to offer him 1,000,000 without batting an eye. People who had just advanced were usually very poor. Senior, tell me. Baiju took out her storage treasure. Kendo had to admit that she was really impressive. When he was as young as her, he only had one sword with him. I want to talk about the secret behind the sage's pages. The pages are eccentric. Some people manage a glimpse, while others just speculate their content. I'm not very good at this. The sage's pages record certain things, and not others. However, these look different. Kendo flicked a page gently, and many images appeared around him. What is the meaning of this? Baiju was shocked. She had never seen such a scene before. It was the image of the sky, the earth, the lakes, the mountains, the rivers, and the sea. However, these images were either cracked or empty. Some parts were missing. What do you think? Kendo asked. Does this mean part of the sage's pages have been taken away? Is that why parts of the images are missing? Baiju asked. Is it possible that the content was broken by interference? Maybe someone doesn't want others to see the full contents of the pages, said Xiao Yi. Baiju nodded. That was possible. Kendo shook his head. Your knowledge is too limited. You've heard of the Saint Bandits, right? One of them proposed a theory a long time ago that the total racial talent of a group doesn't change. He managed to break through that limitation. That proved that it is not impossible to do something extraordinary, just extremely difficult. Senior, what do you mean? Baiju frowned. She didn't quite understand. Kendo smiled. You have to learn to think about the problem differently. Xiao, he thought about it, but she couldn't come up with a way. First, you need to understand one thing, Kendo said seriously. What is it, Senior? Baiju asked. Existence is based on reason, said Kendo. Existence is based on reason? Baiju asked. She still didn't understand. Here comes the main thing. He pointed at the 3 images. One was cracked, another one was missing a part, and the other one was empty. Do you see those 3 images? Don't think they are missing a part, or cracked, or wrong somehow. If that's what the pages show you, then that is what it wants you to know. Baiju and Xiaoyi watched. Have you seen the words on it? Kendo asked. Heaven rewards those who work diligently, Baiju said. Yes, said Kendo. A shattered image appeared in front of Kendo. That cracked image is telling you that there is a crack in your understanding of things. The one with the missing parts means that it's deprived of something. The empty is simply undetectable. At that moment, the images disappeared, and a page fell into Kendo's hands. That is what the sage's pages are trying to tell us. There is something in this world, or someone. The heavenly Tao rewards those who work hard to push boundaries but deprive others of their existence. Their existence cannot be detected. Baiju felt the impact of the explanation. It was mind-blowing. She had never thought along those lines before. This person was terrifying, but she couldn't understand why she had forgotten what she had seen. She asked him about that. I don't know. Kendo shrugged. It's just my interpretation. It might not represent the whole truth. In the afternoon, Jiang Hao took care of the spirit herbs in the spirit herb garden. The superior grade spirit herb hadn't sprouted yet. They might take a few more months. There might be a lot of blue bubbles. If he did well, he could get more spirit herb seeds in the future. It won't be long before I can advance. He didn't know if his real cultivation realm would advance first, or if his displayed cultivation realm would rise first. It all depended on Junior Brother Han's return. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 935. The real owner came for compensation at the end of April. Jiang Hao saw Xiao Li and the spirit beast sitting outside the courtyard. They seemed to be waiting for another chicken to appear. They had already prepared the firewood and had even asked for seasonings from the cafeteria. The spirit beast had said that the last chicken had been too burnt and wanted to do it right this time. Xiao Li believed in the beast entirely. She just waited quietly. Jiang Hao didn't pay any attention to them. He only hoped that the owner of the chicken wouldn't come looking for him. Otherwise, he might have to pay them some spirit stones as compensation. It was rather troublesome. Although he had enough spirit stones, he couldn't bear to let these kids squander it. He wanted to save it for spirit herbs. Early in the morning, Jiang Hao saw that the spirit beast and Shaoli were waiting for him. He didn't ask them to go to the spirit herb garden with him. When he arrived, he saw senior sister Zhou Chan there. He hadn't seen her for a long time. Senior sister Zhou was not much different from before, but her cultivation realm had improved a lot. She was not far from reaching the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. After that, her advancement might be very smooth. The fish might soon leap over the dragon gate. If senior sister Zhou didn't waste her talents, she would become a legend in the sect. "We meet again, junior brother Jiang," Zhou Chan said with a smile. "Senior sister Zhou, are you here for me?" Jiang Hao asked curiously. "Yes, I am," Zhou Chan said. "Where's your junior sister and your spirit pet?" Jiang Hao shook his head helplessly. "They might be busy. I found your spirit pet to be quite fascinating," she said. Zhou Chan took out a small transparent box. "This is for you, junior brother Jiang. You might already know what's going on. I have had to deliver these to you a few times already." Jiang Hao was surprised. Finally, another piece from the set. He wondered what would happen if he gathered all the pieces of the Nine Heavens armor. Senior sister Zhou Chan left after handing him the box. She thanked him for taking care of her junior sister while on the sect mission. Jiang Hao told her that it was his duty. As for the new piece of the Nine Heavens battle armor, there was no need to appraise it right away. He would go back and change into it at night. After successfully fusing it with the other pieces, he could appraise it to know more about the set. Meanwhile, Xiao Li and the spirit beast were still waiting outside in the courtyard. They waited from morning till afternoon. "Beast, do you think a chicken will really appear?" Xiao Li asked. "My friends in the underworld respect me. They won't lie to me. The chicken will definitely come." "They'll continue to wait then," said Xiao Li while eating a white date. The two of them were filled with enthusiasm. In the evening, the spirit beast finally heard something. Xiao Li was excited. Then they looked into the distance and saw a chicken flying over. It was golden. It looked the same as the last chicken that had flown here. "Beast, your friend from the underworld are great," said Xiao Li happily. "Let's go. We shouldn't disappoint our friends in the underworld," said the spirit beast. In an instant, the two of them rushed over. The chicken seemed to be frightened when it saw them and tried running away. The spirit beast sped up. Just as it was about to reach the chicken, an aura surged and sent the spirit beast flying backward. Xiao Li was shocked. She was on her guard. She wanted to see who was so bold to attack the beast. Then, she saw a young girl appear. She had 2 ponytails and was wearing the sex uniform. A senior sister? Xiao Li shrank back. She did not dare act recklessly. "Are you the ones who stole my chicken?" Yi Yaqing looked at the spirit beast and Xiao Li. "We're all friends, so it's only right for us to help each other. Lord Beast, was hungry, and his friends sent him this food. Technically, we weren't stealing," said the spirit beast. Yi Yaqing looked at the spirit beast in disbelief. "The one beside you, is she your master?" she asked curiously. "She doesn't seem as shameless as you." "We are friends," Xiao Li said. "The owner of the beast is my senior brother." "Who is your senior brother?" Yi Yaqing asked. "Senior brother is just..." "Senior brother," Xiao Li said. "When is your senior brother coming back?" Yi Yaqing nodded slightly. "Soon," Xiao Li said. "Then, let's wait for him together." Yi Yaqing led them to the courtyard and had them sit. They waited. "Did it taste good?" she suddenly asked. "It smelled especially good," Xiao Li said. "Only you guys ate it?" Yi Yaqing asked. "Senior brother ate a little too," Xiao Li said. Yi Yaqing nodded. Jiang Hao left the spiritual herb garden and went straight home. It wasn't too late to change into the Nine Heavens battle armor. However, just as he reached the courtyard, he saw someone else with Xiao Li and the spirit beast in his courtyard. Yi Yaqing. Jiang Hao was surprised. She was the 5th-ranked top disciple of the sect. She was still at the late stage of the Soul Ascension realm and should be advancing soon. Why is senior sister Yi here? Jiang Hao was puzzled. He saw the golden chicken nearby and understood why she was here. He sighed. As he feared, the owner of the chicken had arrived. He had no choice but to face the issue. Senior Sister Yi was usually very approachable. Senior Sister Yi, greetings, said Jiang Hao. She looked at him. Junior brother Jiang? Yi Yaqing smiled. It's nice to meet you again. Jiang Hao was a little surprised. He hadn't expected Senior Sister Yi to still remember him. I sent my chicken out for a stroll, and your junior and your pet seem to have eaten it, she said. They said you ate it too. Jiang Hao was speechless. He glanced at Shaoli. He knew who had thrown him under the bus. This was bad. It would be very dangerous if they kept using his name in the future. Do you admit it, junior brother Jiang? Yi Yaqing asked. I apologize. Can I compensate you somehow? Jiang Hao asked. Yi Yaqing was silent, as if she was deep in thought. On the other side of Hunter Bone's forest, Lian Xin ran towards Bai Ye's house anxiously. Senior brother Bai, something bad has happened. He had been taking a break and looking up at the sky. He opened his eyes and looked at the person who had rushed over. What's wrong? Senior Sister Yi went to look for junior brother Jiang. It seems like she has a beef to settle with him, said Lian Xin. What? How? Bai Yi frowned. Senior Sister Yi is rarely on bad terms with others. Why would she suddenly become enemies with Jiang Hao? What actually happened? They might have already met, said Lian Xin. Let's go. We have to meet Senior Sister Yi, said Bai Yi. Lian Xin didn't dare hesitate and pushed Bai Ye's wheelchair outside. They made their way to Jiang Hao's place in a hurry. If they were late, the two people might end up becoming enemies. In a short while, they arrived at the Cliff of Broken Hearts and headed straight for Jiang Hao's house. When they arrived, the two people seemed to have finished their conversation. At that moment, Jiang Hao looked somewhat solemn. Bai Yi frowned. Damn it, he was worried. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 936. Since you beg me, I will help you. Jiang Hao felt a little helpless in the face of Senior Sister Yi's request. The request made him quite concerned. It was quite a simple matter. She had raised 2 golden chickens for her advancement and was missing one. She needed to delay her advancement to the next realm. However, she felt responsible for allowing her chicken to stroll around in Jiang Hao's area. They were both at fault. So, she asked Jiang Hao to help her raise 2 chickens again. She was willing to pay spirit stones to help with it. Jiang Hao felt uneasy because it wasn't easy to raise spirit beasts. He could buy 2 golden chickens instead. They were rare, but they weren't impossible to find. Yi Yaqing shook her head. You can't do that. The chickens are rare. Mine were raised using a special method. The meat is different. Jiang Hao was speechless. He suspected that this senior sister only wanted to eat a good meal before she advanced. It was indeed different. Shaoli nodded. You still dare to speak? Jiang Hao sighed. He frowned and thought about how to make Yi Yaqing happy without making things difficult for himself. However, at that moment, someone approached them. The two turned around in surprise. It was Bai Yi. He was in a wheelchair. He actually came out of his branch. Jiang Hao was truly surprised. He had never met Bai Yi face to face. His aura was still stable, but he had not fully recovered. His cultivation realm was only at the early stage of the primordial spirit realm. He looked worried. Bai Yi. Yi Yaqing was surprised. Senior brother Bai, senior sister Lian, greetings. Jiang Hao bowed. It was also Bai Ye's first time facing Jiang Hao in person. How long had it been since he reached the late stage of the Golden Core realm? Everyone paid attention to Han Ming at the Cliff of Broken Hearts, but they ignored Jiang Hao. Perhaps it was because of the Blood Wish path that people did not care so much about it. The Blood Wish path was impressive, but it was not a great path. It might be discontinued soon. Before meeting him, Bai Yi hadn't been too sure. But seeing Jiang Hao in person made it even more certain that this person wasn't ordinary. Of course, he already knew that because of the heavenly fragrance Dao flower in Jiang Hao's courtyard. Junior brother Jiang, you're too polite. I'm just old and weak now. I'm not as good as you anymore, said Bai Yi. He was very humble. What are you doing here? Yi Yaqing tilted her head. I heard that you came over, senior sister. Is something wrong? Bai Yi asked. Junior brother Jiang's pet ate something of mine, so I'm here to settle the matter with him. Yi Yaqing said honestly. What is it? Bai Yi asked. Yi Yaqing told him about the golden chickens. That must be very difficult for junior brother Jiang. He is good at raising spirit herbs, but raising spirit beasts might not be his thing, said Bai Yi. Senior sister, I can help you with that if you want. Yes. Jiang Hao nodded. That's true. If you have any spirit herbs that you need to plant, I can do it very well. You know how to grow top-grade spirit herbs? Yi Yaqing frowned. Yes. Jiang Hao nodded. I have some seeds, but I can only give you a few spirit stones, Yi Yaqing said. No problem, Jiang Hao said. He didn't even tell her that he needed to see them first. He just agreed. Then, will you raise 6 for me? He'll give you some spirit stones, Yi Yaqing asked Bai Yi. Bai Yi heaved a sigh of relief. It was fine as long as there was no problem between them. Otherwise, the consequences would have been dire. After everything was settled, Jiang Hao watched them leave. At least, I didn't cause any big trouble. It was a blessing in disguise. Bai Yi is helping me. What does he want? Jiang Hao hesitated. He felt that he could relax after this. Perhaps the other party had completely let go of his grievances. When he advanced to the Immortal Ascension platform, he might let go of it completely. That way, he would not have to look for him any longer. He looked at Xiao Li and the spirit beast. At that moment, Xiao Li was holding the spirit beast. Her eyes were wide open. Senior brother Jiang, was it delicious for you too? Jiang Hao was speechless. I think senior sister Yi was quite reasonable, said Xiao Li. Really? Jiang Hao said. It's just, Xiao Li thought for a moment. She wasn't that bad. Jiang Hao didn't understand. Xiao Li must have some talent for telling how people were. She could even smell Hong Yui's scent on him. If something flies over the courtyard, you can't eat it ever again. Okay, Jiang Hao said. The two of them nodded dejectedly. On the other side, Bai Yi followed behind Yi Yaqing. Senior sister, you shouldn't have argued with junior brother Jiang. We didn't argue, Yi Yaqing said. Still, we really didn't. It's better to stay away from him. Yi Yaqing stopped in her tracks and turned to look at Bai Yi. Are you afraid of him? No. Bai Yi shook his head. You're afraid of him, so you don't dare to come into contact with him. You've been living in your own lane. Yi Yaqing looked at him. How did you feel after meeting him today? Was he as dangerous as you imagined? Bai Yi looked at Yi Yaqing. He was confused. You are a cunning, scheming person. Since you want to show kindness, you have to be more direct. Otherwise, some people will think that you might be planning something else. I don't know why you were so scared of him, but junior brother Jiang is harmless. Do you understand? After saying that, Yi Yaqing walked away. Wait a little longer. He'll surpass you. Then, you can be bolder. Today was just an example. She walked away and left them stumped. What did she mean? Did she do everything today on purpose? Or was it because it was an accident? And Jiang Hao just played along? What if he hadn't come? That night, outside the Cliff of Broken Hearts, a woman sat cross-legged in her room, and a formation flickered around her. At that moment, the veins on her face were bulging, and the pain made her grimace. The curse on her forehead spread all over her body. Her cultivation was ineffective in front of the curse. She was Shangwan Qingsu. She had been at the Cliff of Broken Hearts for quite some time, but there was still no news about smiling San Sheng. She was being tortured by the curse even more. She did not know why the curse was especially terrifying at this cliff. She could not hold on any longer. If someone could help her with the curse, she was willing to give up everything. Help me, Shangwan Qingsu gritted her teeth. She didn't expect anyone to help her, but it was a habit she couldn't get rid of. A loud and cheerful voice reached her ears. All right, since you're begging me, I'll help you. A hand pressed on Shangwan Qingsu's head. In an instant, the pain began to fade, and the curse receded like a wave. She was terrified and relieved. Shangwan Qingsu was stunned. It was like a dream. What had happened? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 937. From now on, you'll acknowledge me as your master in the shabby and narrow room. The window was open. At that moment, a scholar in white stood by the window. Moonlight fell on him. He was like the brightest existence in the darkness. In the room, a young lady looked ahead with a blank face. Moments before, she had suffered from the curse that she was born with. That pain had accompanied her for hundreds of years. The pain hadn't lessened at all, and her body didn't get used to it all. She thought that she would die in pain and had instinctively asked for help, but she did not expect it to work. It seems like it's not painful anymore. The scholar opened the folding fan in his hand and smiled. The words "unparalleled in the world" appeared on the folding fan. Shangguan Qingsu finally recovered from her shock. "Smiling San Sheng," she said. "That's me. Is this why you're looking for me?" Smiling, San Sheng nodded and smiled. Shangguan Qingsu never expected to find smiling San Sheng in the Heavenly Notes sect. Why was he here? She didn't understand, but she didn't think too much about it. She didn't care if this was the same person she had met before. As long as he could help with the curse, it would be fine. At the end of the day, she was only looking for someone who could help with the curse. "Can you really suppress the curse? Can you remove it?" Shangguan Qingsu asked. Smiling San Sheng smiled but didn't say anything. Only then did Shangguan Qingsu come to her senses. She stood up and bowed. "Thank you for your help, Senior. If you need anything, please tell me." "You have good manners," Jiang Hao said with a smile. When he planned to get in touch with Shangguan Qingsu, he had already thought of the most suitable way to contact her. It wasn't enough to just use the identity of smiling San Sheng. What he needed was to intimidate her. Even if his cultivation realm was higher than hers, he had to do something with the curse to show her that he wasn't someone to mess with. "Do you know who I am?" Shangguan Qingsu asked. "Do you think you hid it that well?" Jiang Hao asked. She was indeed good at hiding, but nothing was hidden from smiling San Sheng. Shangguan Qingsu was shocked. She felt that he was lying to her. She hesitated. "I did, but you still found me." "I'm Shangguan Qingsu." Jiang Hao looked at her in amusement. "If you hadn't felt the benefits of my help, why would you be here?" Shangguan Qingsu was surprised. She did not understand how she had been discovered. "Senior, please forgive me. I only wanted to protect myself." She lowered her head and apologized. Jiang Hao didn't mind. "What do you want from me?" "I would like to ask for your help to remove the curse," Shangguan Qingsu said. "I'm willing to pay any price." "That is impossible, at least for now." Jiang Hao shook his head. "You don't even know what the curse on your body is." "Do you know, Senior?" Shangguan Qingsu asked. Jiang Hao smiled without saying anything. He left her guessing. There was no need for him to reveal it. If Gu Changsheng was also from their clan, it would be a big problem. After all, there would always be people who worshipped the strongest. If there was any trouble, it would be bad. He planned to suppress Gu Changsheng. Some of them were eager for Gu Changsheng to make a comeback. He couldn't tell them that Gu Changsheng had a problem. There were always people who thought differently. The people from the end of all things might release Gu Changsheng to the world if they knew about this. The world would be plunged into chaos. They wanted everything to end. If there's no way to remove it, can it at least be suppressed? Shangguan Qingsu asked. Her real goal was that, even after so many years, the Shangguan clan had not been able to think of any way to suppress it. They did not even dare to think about removing it. "It's not that I can't, but..." Jiang Hao looked at Shangguan Qingsu. "Are you planning to deal with it alone, or for your entire clan?" "What?" Shangguan Qingsu was stunned. "Is there really a way to deal with the curse of the entire clan?" "Don't ask me. Just tell me whether you want it to be solved for just one person or the entire clan," said Jiang Hao. At that moment, Shangguan Qingsu fell silent. She thought for a long time. If the solution is for the entire clan, what kind of price do we have to pay? She felt that this person had come for the entire clan. The price. Jiang Hao fanned his hand and thought for a long time. "Maybe wait for my instructions from now on." That, Shangguan Qingsu frowned. "That is not something I can decide. I need to go back and discuss it with the clan." "Sure. I'm not in a hurry. Go back and ask." Jiang Hao nodded. He didn't care if the Shangguan clan would bow to him or not. He had asked for a big price anyway. They might feel like he was trying to enslave the Shangguan clan. There was no need to say anything more. It had to be thought about long and hard. It wasn't an easy decision to make. "Then, how should I contact you?" Shangguan Qingsu asked. Jiang Hao handed a ring to her. When you reach the west, place it in a safe place. When you're done, you'll know how to contact me. Shangguan Qingsu was a little puzzled as she took the golden ring. Then, Jiang Hao taught her how to activate it. This way, he could go directly to the Shangguan clan. However, there was a problem. He was missing a ring. He had placed one in the corpse realm, another one in the courtyard, another one for Xiao Li, the spirit beast, another one in the west, one with Hong Yuye, and the last one with Shangguan Qingsu. He had used 7 of them. There was only one ring left. He had to think of a way to get Xiao Li and the spirit beast back. Can I ask you a question? Shangguan Qingsu said. Go on, Jiang Hao said. If the Shangguan clan refuses, can I continue to work with you? Shangguan Qingsu asked. Really? Jiang Hao smiled playfully. Then, he disappeared on the spot. Good luck. Shangguan Qingsu was a little surprised as she watched him leave. She had no idea how he had disappeared. He hadn't asked about Feng Hua even once. He had asked about her before. There's another strange thing. I can't see through his cultivation realm. It wasn't like that before. Shangguan Qingsu frowned. She did not think that he could surpass her in such a short period of time. There was no one who could advance so quickly. It shouldn't be possible. She repeated it to herself to convince herself. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 938. The strongest Gu Jin Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief when he returned to his courtyard. It was done. He had found a way to leave a ring in the west. He hoped Shangguan Qingsu could leave the ring at the right location. After all, it was not easy to go out. It would take a long time to chase after her. If she could activate the ring at the location of the clan, he could instantly go there. However, she might not activate the golden ring. It was also possible that she might just abandon the ring. In short, it was a risky move. Jiang Hao sat down and began to study the 7 forms of the heavenly blade. He could not even understand the 6th and 7th forms, let alone learn them. He had learned the 5th form, but its power depended on the person. Some people could easily use it to slash others, but sometimes it wouldn't be able to harm someone with a lower cultivation realm than him. It was a double-edged sword. Jiang Hao didn't think about anything else. He had done everything he could. He would wait patiently for things to happen on their own. The most recent issue was Gui's matter. Gui and the others might be arriving soon. The next day, Bai Zhu followed Kendo to the front of the Heavenly Note sect. They all felt rather emotional. Kendo was nostalgic for this place, while Bai Zhu lamented her fate. This sect is not ordinary. Although it doesn't feel like anything extraordinary, it has been through a lot and is still standing tall. Why didn't anyone come here to establish an immortal sect back then? Kendo smiled. The immortal sect might not be able to avoid it in time, Bai Zhu said. Kendo laughed out loud. Although his cultivation realm was high, he rarely cared about the outside world. He had only recently set foot in the south. He had heard some rumors about it. The immortal sect could not withstand these things, especially when one's cultivation realm was high. There would always be people who were bold enough to do something. In the end, the entire sect would be destroyed. Senior, have you been to the Heavenly Note sect before? Isn't it more convenient for us to find the longevity curse tree? Bai Zhu asked. Kendo smiled. You're the one with the spirit stones. They'll do whatever you say. Senior, do you think anyone in the south is your match? She asked. At a glance, no, Kendo said. In reality? Bai Zhu asked. Hard to say. Kendo thought for a moment. There are some amazing things in the south. There's a chance that powerful experts might be present. There might be hidden powerful people. However, in the 4 regions, there aren't many who can compete with me. Who is the strongest person in this world? Bai Zhu asked. She didn't know, but she had to ask. I don't know. Kendo shook his head. I don't think anyone is that powerful. Geniuses are everywhere, but it's hard to say who's the strongest. Is it like this in every era? Bai Zhu was slightly disappointed. Of course not. The era of the human emperor is undoubtedly the most extraordinary. No one could compete with him. There were countless experts in that era, but they were still suppressed by him. He walked to the front of the Heavenly Note sex formation. At that moment, someone came to ask for her identity, and Baiju settled it immediately. Then, the three of them walked inside. What about other times? Baiju asked. Kendo thought for a moment. There is also someone who was as powerful as the human emperor. Although it was just the beginning, he was powerful. Who was it? Baiju's eyes lit up. He was a strong cultivator from the Astronomical Academy. Gujin, said Kendo. He was very powerful. He walked from the west to the east. He passed through the Bright Moon sect, the Clear Sky School, and then to the Mountain Sea Sword sect in the north. He defeated the expert from the Mountain Sea Sword sect. It was said that the flames burned the sky and melted the sword god's sword. It was an extraordinary war. Is Gujin that strong? Baiju asked. She recalled how respectful the noodle shop chef had been to that young man who was supposed to be Gujin. He was so close to becoming a legend. What happened after that? Baiju asked excitedly. Where is he now? I don't know. Kendo shrugged. I heard that he went missing. Anyway, after leaving the north, there was no more news of him. Some people from the Mountain Sea Sword sect say that he was injured by the sword god and died in the dark. Really? Baiju said in disbelief. If it were true, wouldn't the sword god be the most powerful person in existence? The rumor must be fake. I've met the sword god before. He just shook his head and denied everything, said Kendo. Senior, you're really amazing. You even met the sword god? Baiju asked in admiration. At that moment, they arrived at the mines. Baiju had already arranged everything, so they could go in directly. She just needed to get someone to check. The Heavenly Note sect was all right. They could go in as long as they had enough spirit stones. After the inspection, Baiju followed the people from the mines all the way inside. When are you planning to leave? Kendo asked. The sooner, the better. However, she thought about it for a moment. Senior, do you want to stay here longer? I can inform them about it when the time comes. It's not that I want to stay as such. It's better for us both to stay. The strong won't compromise easily. So, it's better not to rush, said Kendo. I don't think that I'm that strong. I don't have an advantage against the longevity curse tree. It's impossible for Gu Changsheng to agree to communicate with us immediately. It might take some time. However, you don't have to worry. Even if I'm no match for him, I have plenty of time to deal with him. Is it that extreme? Baiju found it hard to believe. After a long time, Kendo first saw a huge tree. There was a black aura on the tree, and the surrounding space was somewhat distorted. Beside the tree was a black river that led to some unknown place. This is the longevity curse tree? It's a little strange. I didn't see what it was connected to, said Kendo. The moment Baiju saw the tree, she felt a sense of familiarity. For a moment, she felt that her cultivation had improved. She would have improved by leaps and bounds if she cultivated under that tree. This was a good place. Xiao Yi did not feel anything. She only felt that the tree was so big that it was a wonder. Let's go in. Then, we'll see if we can communicate. If we can't, we'll have to fight, said Kendo. Baiju nodded. She felt a little nervous. However, she could understand why the other party was looking for her. They were somewhat similar. If the person wanted to replace her, they could do so conveniently. Senior, do you think you can handle it? Asked Baiju. I'm still young. Why do I have to encounter something so terrifying? Kendo looked at Baiju. Has anyone ever told you that you ask a lot of questions? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 939. Willing to teach the blood wish path around early May. Jiang Hao looked at the high-grade spirit herbs section and thought about it. It would germinate in 3 months. This was because he had let it grow normally. Otherwise, he could have made it grow by next month. He wanted to make it less obvious. The main thing was that he had plenty of time. As for Yi Yaking's spirit herbs, she hadn't sent them over yet. He didn't know when she would do so. He liked that senior sister. She wasn't easily offended and wasn't aggressive. He wondered how the golden chicken was related to her advancement. Jiang Hao sighed and decided to rest. Shangguan Qingsu has already left. I wonder how Gue is doing. Sitting under the shabby house, Jiang Hao looked into the distance. Shangguan Qingsu left the sect the second day after he left. She had left on a mission. Some of her seniors felt that it was a pity. After all, she was very likable. All of a sudden, a sword hum sounded from afar. It was vast. Jiang Hao stood up instinctively. He was on his guard. The Nine Heavens battle armor began to activate as if it could erupt at any moment. The new piece had fused perfectly with the rest of the set. The Nine Heavens battle armor was now different from before. It could fuse with his spirit energy. One of the Nine Heavens battle armor pants the abilities of the 6 pieces of the set have been improved. All aspects have reached the immortal ascension platform. It can automatically communicate with other treasures and accept the user's spirit energy, which will grant the set more power and help it break through its limits. The Nine Heavens battle armor was different. However, Jiang Hao didn't pay much attention to it. He didn't know the details since he hadn't used it yet. He was somewhat at a loss as he faced the sudden sword's intent. The first thing he thought was that the Heavenly Note sect had been attacked by a powerful expert. The branch masters even came out of their seclusion. Dozens of powerful people were heading in the direction of the mine. The source of the sword's intent was over there. Jiang Hao frowned. The mines after the sword's intent appeared, there was no follow-up. After waiting for a long time, Jiang Hao didn't sense anything else. There were no signs of battle. Maybe that has something to do with Gue. Jiang Hao thought to himself. If someone attacked, the sword's intent would be enough to cut down the Heavenly Note sect. He felt that Senior Dan Yuan was a little terrifying. He had called a random person, and he turned out to be very powerful. Meanwhile, Bai Ji was on her guard. She couldn't be at ease. Others behind her were the same. He had never felt such an aura since the establishment of the Heavenly Note sect. It was as if the sect was about to be destroyed. They still didn't know what was going on below. Fellow disciples, don't worry. I wasn't able to control myself for a moment just now and was caught off guard. That's why I leaked my sword's intent. We've already suppressed the one we were here for, said Kendo. Does Sect Master Baiji still remember me? Senior Kendo? Baiji was surprised. Yes, that's me. This time, I'm here with this lady. She seems to have an appointment. You'll know if you check it, said Kendo. Baiji and the others looked at each other. It was indeed Kendo, and the other two were Baizhu and Xiao Yi. There was an appointment made in advance. Who knew that the commotion would be so big? The people who had come to check looked terrified. With so many sect experts surrounding him, Baizhu did not even dare to breathe. Baiji ignored them. However, knowing that they were here for that tree made her think a lot. Senior, can you tell me before you come in next time so that I can welcome you properly? Kendo smiled. All right. I thought I could come and go quietly this time. I didn't expect to be tricked. When I'm done here, he'll apologize to everyone properly. No, I didn't mean it that way. If you are done with the work here, Senior, let us welcome you to the sect, said Baiji. The other person's strength was too great, so they didn't want to act recklessly. At that moment, Ku Wu Chang hesitated. Although Baiji and the others were curious about what was going on inside, they did not have the intention to go down. The terrifying aura was a testament to what horrifying thing was below. It was better to stay away. Around mid-April, there was no more power flowing out of the mine. Rumors went around. It was said that there was a battle between experts over there. They didn't know what the real situation was. There were also rumors that the sect had made a major discovery and had already sealed off the mines. Some even said that a secret realm had appeared and that the people of Law Enforcement Hall had already entered it. That sword's intent that was emitted was from that mystic realm. Jiang Hao smiled. When Xingqiu told him about it, he only nodded and did not say anything. After that, he explained cultivation issues to Xingqiu. Xingqiu had a rough understanding of the situation. In a few years, he would be able to try to advance to the late stage of the Golden Core realm. He was about 50 years old and would advance once every 10 years. He should be able to successfully form his core before the age of 80. Jiang Hao had been explaining the cultivation method to him. Many people listened. Some people were very hesitant because everyone knew that this was the blood wish path. However, as some disciples advanced, many people could not resist the temptation and came near to listen to him. Jiang Hao didn't care about them. He could listen to them if they liked, and it didn't matter if they didn't. He wanted to create a place where people could ask questions. He also wanted them to feel that he was following the blood wish path. As some people advanced, they voluntarily left some blood behind. Many people followed suit. Seeing this, Jiang Hao smiled. This way, everyone would surely think that he practiced the blood wish path. Ching Chou was a little confused, but Jiang Hao told him not to worry or think too much about it. Senior sister Lian Qin arrived just as he finished explaining. She brought 100 high-grade spirit herbs. Senior sister, Yi asked me to give these to you, junior brother, Fairy Lian Qin said. Jiang Hao appraised it. He found out that it would take a year for the seeds to germinate, and it would cost a lot of spirit stones. Under normal circumstances, it would take 2 years. Senior sister Lian Qin gave him the spirit stones. She even gave him more than necessary. All right, he'll grow the seeds as soon as possible, Jiang Hao said politely. There's no need to rush. These spirit herbs need to be nurtured for a long time, and their survival rate isn't that high. Just take your time and do it properly, Lian Qin said. Jiang Hao nodded. After planting the spirit herbs, he went back. Along the way, he sensed the stone tablet vibrate. There was a gathering tonight. So fast. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 940. I have a way to suppress Gu Changxing. The gathering was held sooner than usual. Nothing had happened yet. But if nothing had happened, the gathering wouldn't have been held so soon. When Jiang Hao entered the stone tablet, he found Gue rather dejected. She must have encountered something. Senior Dan Yuan didn't ask about cultivation either. In other words, it was not a regular gathering. This gathering is at the request of friend Gue, Dan Yuan smiled. Are you still in the Heavenly Notes sect, Gue? Yes. Gue nodded. You've already started dealing with Gu Changsheng? Xing asked. Yes. Gue nodded again. Didn't go well? Lu asked. It didn't go as well as I thought, said Gue. The longevity curse tree is stronger than expected. Not only that, but the entity is also tougher than expected. I want to know how to make Gu Changxing compromise. According to the senior with me, the fight between them could last for decades. Even so, the other party doesn't seem to be willing to compromise. We need to think of another way. Even he doesn't have an advantage over them. Dan Yuan was surprised. I have an advantage, but I can't really suppress that existence. It's impossible to make him compromise. He's even unwilling to talk, Gue said. The Heavenly Notes sect was a dangerous place, and she was wasting her time there. Kendo told her to be mentally prepared and that she might have to spend 10 to 20 years there. If it really didn't work, she would have to think of another way or simply give up. They might not even be able to solve the issue at all. Gu Changsheng isn't ordinary. It's almost impossible to make him compromise if we can't suppress him. I want to ask someone. According to that senior, even if Gu Changsheng is still alive, he's in a desperate situation. He has nothing to lose, said Zhang. Friend Jing, do you have any ideas? Gue asked. Jing had discovered Gu Changsheng, and he had a lot of relevant information regarding that. Perhaps he could help figure out a way. Jiang Hao lowered his head in thought. He could try asking Gu Jin. Gu Jin might have ideas. However, Gu Jin had suggested a way to block Gu Changxing's escape route. That was to suppress the 100 Nights curse. That method needed more time. He had to wait for Shangguan Qingsu to return overseas and discuss it with her clan. He also needed to arrange a suitable formation to be able to suppress the curse. The situation was complicated. It might get delayed due to too many factors. There is a way, he said after a while. The others looked at him. Really, Gue was pleasantly surprised. She didn't expect that there would be a solution. Xing and the others were also very curious. I need to go overseas. I'm not sure about how long it might take. It might take 2 to 3 years even, Jiang Hao said in a low voice. 2 or 3 years. Gue frowned. Do you need help going overseas? Lu asked. Jiang Hao shook his head. This time, he did not need any help. After all, it was the Shangguan clan's business. Overseas? 2 or 3 years. Xing looked at Jing. Friend Jing, are you interested in finding a divine item? A divine item? Jiang Hao was a little surprised. Is it the divine item that the heavenly spirit tribe used to suppress the fallen immortal clan? Yes. Xing was not surprised that Jing knew about it. Jiang Hao was silent for a moment. He didn't want to cause any more trouble. However, he could indeed look for the item. Don't worry about anything else. When the time comes, we can go together to get it. Even if we don't get that item, I can still give you a decent treasure, Xing said. I need to see if he'll get the time, Jiang Hao said. The Heavenly Spirit Tribe? Gui asked. Friend Xing, you're going too? I have a way to enter their place, and I want you to help me get something in exchange. Xing nodded and agreed to Gui's request. That might be of some help to him. All right. Let me remind you that the rumors about the Dragon Cave are out, Lu said softly. It will probably be fully opened in 2 years. Everyone was surprised. In other words, there might be too many things happening overseas in the coming years. Gui heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the chaos still happened without her presence. She wasn't unlucky. The gathering ended. Jiang Hao opened his eyes and sighed. Xing's task is a little difficult. Jiang Hao had asked Gu Jin about this matter. Although he was interested in the divine item, he wouldn't get involved if it was too dangerous. As for when he would go overseas, it would depend on Shangwan King's arrival. It might take another year. If I want to participate in the matters of the world, I need a strong cultivation realm. My current cultivation realm is definitely not enough. It was not safe to go to the Heavenly Spirit Tribe in the middle stage of the Immortal Ascension platform. If it was just overseas, his cultivation was enough to protect him. Looks like I have to advance as soon as possible. While he was thinking, Jiang Hao looked at his interface. Name, Jiang Hao. Age, 40. Cultivation realm. Middle stage of the Immortal Ascension platform. Cultivation method. Heavenly Sound 100 Revolutions. Hongming Heart Sutra. Divine ability. 9 revolutions death substitution. Unique. Daily appraisal. Clear and pure heart. Reappearance of hidden spirit. Divine might. Revival of withered tree. Heavenly cauldron. Indestructible Vajra lifeblood. 55/100 can be cultivated. Cultivation. 55/100 can be cultivated. Divine ability. 2/3 cannot be obtained. It has reached only half. Even if the spirit herbs germinate fully, ITLL not be enough. ITLL take at least the end of the year for me to collect enough. At that time, he would be in the late stage of the Immortal Ascension platform. Jiang Hao shook his head. It seemed that it was impossible for him to advance beyond the Immortal Ascension platform in just a few years. He could only try his best. After thinking for a moment, he decided to make Senior Sister Danma's spirit herbs sprout in July. He could only speed it up by a month, or there might be more damage. His further advancement would depend on whether Duanmu would be willing to give him more spirit herbs or not. Then, he would have to increase his combat strength as much as possible. The only way was to digest the divine soul of the Holy Master. However, he would need 700,000 spirit stones to do that completely. He didn't have enough. Fortunately, the immortal peach tree was about to appear. He might get a purple bubble out of it. He would have another divine ability. Perhaps he could go to the Dragon Cave after that. Baizhu walked to the big tree. Kendo sat cross-legged and floated in the sky. The cursed tree had already begun to distort, and the surrounding space was constantly shattering and reforming. The sword's intent covered everything. The space distortion and the sword's intent clashed and recoiled. Neither was willing to back down. He felt the immense pressure of such power. He tried to cultivate. The surrounding was filled with so much power that it was ideal for cultivation. Senior Dan Yuan has an idea, Baizhu said. What is it? Kendo asked. He seemed relaxed. This stalemate would last for decades. So, he might as well take it slow. It might take a while, but someone might make a move against the person, said Baizhu. Ow! I didn't ask. Don't you usually ask a lot of questions? Why didn't you ask that? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 941. Senior sister is shocked by. Zhu felt that everything was so unfair. She always seemed to attract trouble. As the number one genius of the royal family, her journey should have been smoother. As expected, she needed to go back and pay her respects to her ancestors. However, the most important thing now was how to get past Gu Changsheng. When can the person you mentioned make a move? Kendo asked. I'm not sure. It might take 2 to 3 years, Bai Zhu said. She didn't know that for certain either. However, if Jing said it might take 2 or 3 years, then that was how long it would take. She needed to wait. Kendo nodded. It's not that long. I'll be fine. I can even go out for a walk occasionally. The competition here was not as intense as he had thought. In the beginning, he had been caught off guard, so it had seemed dangerous. But they had an idea of what they were facing, so there was no need to fight to the death. Bai Zhu nodded. She had no choice but to wait. She hoped that the next 2 to 3 years would pass quickly. Early the next morning, Mr. Tao walked into the courtyard. Tanya was surprised. Mr. Tao, why are you out so early? Mr. Tao smiled and sat down. Is Zhu Xin back? I'll be back soon, Tanya said. She had been sensing her surroundings. She was training herself to be more vigilant. She liked this kind of job. It was simple and direct. She hated mind games. Mr. Tao sat at the table and began to make some tea. Why do all scholars like to drink tea so much? Tanya asked. It refines your senses. Mr. Tao smiled. I don't feel it. Besides, I see others drinking tea too. Well, artsy people drink tea. Then, do you consider yourself artsy, Mr. Tao? For me, it's just a habit. Jushin will be back soon, said Tanya. Lately, he's been asking about the Dragon Cave. That matter sounds big, and so many people are already interested in it. Many people plan to go and investigate. They hope to obtain the true dragon's inheritance. Mr. Tao did not say anything and continued to make tea. After a while, Zhu Xin arrived. Mr. Tao. He bowed and greeted him. Any news? Mr. Tao asked. I went to Heavenly King Taoma's place to ask around. So, I'm a little late, said Zhu Xin. There's not much information about the Dragon Cave. However, he was sure that it would open in 2 or 3 years. There's a high chance that it would be guarded by a true dragon. Not only that, he also said that there might be a true dragon's inheritance in that place and news of the Dragon Clan. The things inside might exceed whatever was in the dragon nest. We need to go. That's all? Do you know the source of the news? Mr. Tao poured the tea slowly. We found out that someone saw a dragon's illusion and learned about Dragon Cave from it, Zhu Shun said. There's another message. It might be related to the entrance of the Dragon Cave. I'll be here soon. Mr. Tao nodded. Here, have some tea while you wait. At noon, Zhu Shun received the news. We already have information about the entrance. We can prepare. This entrance has some special requirements, said Zhu Shun excitedly. Before he could continue further, Mr. Tao stopped him. Zhu Xin was somewhat puzzled. Let me guess. This Dragon Cave requires one to be at least at the primordial spirit realm to enter, said Mr. Tao. Zhu Shun was stunned. Tanya sat up and looked at him curiously. She wanted to know if Mr. Tao's guess was wrong. Zhu Shun, is that true? Say something. She nudged him. Yes, that's correct. Zhu Shun nodded. He thought about it. There was no way Mr. Tao would have known it in advance. It might mean that there was some problem with the information or with the Dragon Cave itself. How did you know, Mr. Tao? Tanya asked. Is there a problem with this place? Zhu Xin asked. Mr. Tao sipped his tea. There are quite a number of people who are on good terms with us, right? Yes. Zhu Xin nodded. Many of them have the information and resources we need, right? Yes. Then, we'll use the reputation of the Heavenly Tower to spread the news. Zhu Shan's heart skipped a beat when he heard that. What is it? Tanya didn't understand, but she listened attentively. These people always had some riddles to unfold. She hated riddles and mind games, but there was nothing she could do. Just subtly spread the rumor that the source of the news about the Dragon Cave came from the Great Thousand God sect. Let it be known that they already knew the location of the Dragon Cave and deliberately released it now. I'll make people think twice about entering the cave, said Mr. Tao. Zhu Xin narrowed his eyes. He did not question Mr. Tao. When the news of the Dragon Cave spread, Mr. Tao had told him to discreetly find out more about it. He seemed to know what he was doing. What do you mean? Tanya asked. What do you think is in the dragon cave? Mr. Tao asked. A true dragon's inheritance? It's a trap set by the Great Thousand God sect. Is it because of the Great Thousand Spirit technique of the Great Thousand God sect? Is that why they want primordial spirits? You've improved. Mr. Tao smiled. This news is important. Won't the Great Thousand God sect do something drastic? Zhu Shun was a little worried. Don't worry. If the Heavenly Tower can't even face this, it won't be able to stand overseas with power, said Mr. Tao. Zhu Shun did not think too much about it. After the gathering ended, Jianghao didn't do anything else and just went on with his daily routine. If he helped suppress Gu Changsheng, he would be helping Gu Wei. If he succeeded, she would owe him a huge favor. He still had to cash in on the previous favor. That would make it 2 favors in total, one big and one small. Xing still owed him a reward. If he went to the Heavenly Spirit Tribe to help him, that would be 2 rewards. Time passed quickly, and a month and a half was gone in the blink of an eye. Everything went smoothly. Around early July, Jianghao arrived at the Spirit Herbal Garden. When he entered, he saw numerous blue bubbles. As he walked in, the bubbles began to surge and fly to him. Strength, cultivation, lifeblood, spirit sword. The bubbles continued to merge with him. There seemed to be more bubbles than before. After a while, Jianghao absorbed all the bubbles. There were 31 bubbles in total. That was 5 more than before. It was indeed a lot. However, he was still a few points away from advancing. It was much harder to advance after reaching the realm he was in. Opening an immortal path would be even more difficult. He didn't know when he would reach beyond the immortal ascension platform. Jianghao sighed and began to tend to the spirit herbs. After making sure that there were no problems, he sent Cheng Chou to look for senior sister Duanmu Yan. In just a short while, she arrived with Cheng Chou. She saw Jianghao. Junior brother Jiang, did you manage to make it sprout? Yes. Jianghao nodded. How is that possible? She couldn't believe it. It would have taken her at least 10 months to make it germinate. Only 5 months had passed after she gave him the seeds. She felt that this junior was playing her. If not, the spirit herbs might have been tampered with to forcefully make it sprout. Please check and see for yourself, senior sister. Jianghao stepped aside. She checked them. How is this possible? She was beyond shocked. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 942, Demonis. Every word makes sense in the shabby pavilion of the Spirit Herbal Garden. Duanmu Yan was in a daze. She looked at Jianghao. How did you do it, junior brother Jiang? Jianghao lowered his head and didn't answer. Sorry, I'm in a hurry, so they'll check the rest. Duanmu Yan did not ask him any more questions. She just checked the spirit herbs. At first, she didn't believe it. She thought some of the seeds would be definitely damaged. It wasn't until she was done with the checkup that she realized that she had underestimated him. The herbs weren't just undamaged, but they were also of superior quality compared to the ones she had spent so much effort to grow. It had taken half the time than the ones she had grown. It meant that the person who had planted them was amazing at his work. This person knew much more about spirit herbs than anyone in the sect. It was far beyond her understanding. Do you know how to refine pills too, junior brother Jiang? Duanmu Yan asked. I don't know anything. Jianghao shook his head. If there's a chance, we can try to do it. Who knows? You might be talented in that field too, said Duanmu Yan. Jianghao shook his head. Refining pills sounded like it would take too much time and spirit stones. He was good at making talismans. They were just a bit difficult to sell, especially the 1,000 miles teleportation talisman. His talismans had improved significantly. It was just that he had been making fewer talismans lately. However, there were quite a few clone talismans. After that, they began to talk about business. Junior brother, your ability is far beyond what I could have anticipated. I hope you don't mind that I doubted you before. You're too polite, senior sister. Of course, I don't mind. Jianghao shook his head. I'm just not good at raising every spirit herb. Junior brother Jiang, Are you free now? I have 700 seeds here. You could try planting them. Duan Muyin could feel that this person had a special talent for planting spirit herbs. He would definitely be even more powerful in the future. Since he had dared to plant 200 seeds at once, he must be confident in his abilities. 700? Jiang Hao asked. How many bubbles would that spawn? 230. It was enough for him to advance. I can give you 3 times the spirit stones than it might normally take, Duan Muyin said. 3 times more? Jiang Hao thought for a moment. It was a good deal. It was not good to ask for too much. Many things had to go through the sect for approval. If his method was discovered, they might want to know. She sent over the seeds after a few more days. The seeds were from 7 different spirit herbs. He spent 7 days appraising them all. 3 of them could sprout in half a year, and 4 others would only take 4 months. The cost of growing them was not small. It would cost him about 50,000 spirit stones. He hoped she would give him more than that. He still had 400,000 spirit stones. Even if he added the seeds senior sister Yi gave, he would only use up around 80,000 spirit stones. He would still have 320,000 spirit stones. There was no way he could spend it all. What he lacked was top-grade spirit herbs. Unfortunately, these people didn't have any. However, one thing was certain. If there were no accidents, he would be able to advance to the late stage of the Immortal Ascension platform by the end of the year. After that, he started planting the spirit herbs. It was July. The earliest batch could sprout by November. However, there was no rush to inform the seniors. He could tell them a month or 2 later. The next day, Jiang Hao looked at the peach tree that was beginning to bear fruit and appraised it. Immortality Peach Tree. It is related to the ancient divine tree, the Immortality Peach Tree. It has a trace of the divine tree's characteristics, and the fruit is sweet and fragrant. If you leave a fruit on the tree and use 53,900 spirit stones to set up a spirit gathering array around it, you could activate a trace of the divine tree's characteristics and activate an incarnation. After 2 incarnations, it will become a complete divine tree. It's easier for the incarnation to succeed if it is placed near another divine item. 8 incarnations. It was almost over. The difference in spirit stones this time was not much. He would only need around 53,000. Looks like it will be the same as before. I wonder how many spirit stones will be needed for the last incarnation. There was nothing special about the first 8 times, and the fruits hadn't changed much. There wasn't even any spiritual energy left. Maybe the last incarnation would be impactful. It was definitely not ordinary. After the last incarnation, it might also be very difficult to replant it. It would take an extremely long time. It might not even give him bubbles after it turned into a divine tree. After deducting 50,000, he'll still have 270,000 left. The people he met were getting stronger and stronger, so he needed more spirit stones to get stronger too. He had changed. He wasn't like he used to be in the past. He didn't spend all his spirit stones on just one thing. The changes brought about by cultivation were best reflected in spirit stones. When will my peach tree transform into a divine tree? Said a sudden voice from behind. Jiang Hao was used to her appearing out of thin air. Greetings, senior. He turned around and greeted her respectfully. It was Hong Yuya. She was dressed entirely in red. It needs to go through incarnation twice more, said Jiang Hao. How many times has it been? Hong Yuya asked as she sat by the table. 7 times. Jiang Hao began to brew tea. He stole a glance at the spirit beast and realized that it had been hung up from a tree branch. It was unconscious, and its face was swollen. 7 incarnations without any changes. Hong Yuya asked softly. It has gotten sweeter, Jiang Hao said in a low voice. He was also very curious. He wondered why there wasn't a change even after so many incarnations. There was nothing else except for the fragrance. It was like an ordinary peach tree. Why is that happening? Hong Yuya asked. Maybe for a better incarnation, Jiang Hao said. If there's spiritual energy, then the ripening will definitely be delayed. It won't be able to mature once a year like now. Even though there hasn't been much change, the incarnation that comes with it is always deliberate. Hong Yuya looked at Jiang Hao in silence. She looked at him for so long that he even finished brewing the tea. Not a single word of truth from you, but it's reasonable. Jiang Hao lowered his head and didn't say anything. What did you find? Han Yuya asked. Jiang Hao told her about the gathering. Dragon Cave? Han Yuya asked with interest. It'll take 2 or 3 years. Yes. Jiang Hao nodded. Do you still remember what I told you? Han Yuya picked up the teacup. I do remember. I need to investigate the origin of the dragon pearl. Jiang Hao nodded. You remember things very clearly when it has to do with Shaoli, Han Yuya said. Of course, senior. I take your instructions very seriously, said Jiang Hao. Han Yuya chuckled and drank her tea. Jiang Hao poured himself a cup of tea. She didn't mention anything about the Shangwan clan or the fallen immortal clan. She didn't seem interested. He still had to pay attention to the traps set by the great Thousand God sect. He looked at her. She looked disdainful. He didn't speak anymore. There's a fight at the mines? Han Yuya asked. At present, it seems that it's in a stalemate and will remain that way for decades, said Jiang Hao. If Gu Changxing comes out, will there be a big fight? Han Yuya thought about it. Why do you think he went in? Because of the curse that brought disaster to the earth. Jiang Hao thought. Gu Changxing had voluntarily gone in. Why did he intend to make a comeback? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 943. You want to be a top disciple? Jiang had to know whether Gu Changxing was real or not. However, based on speculations, it was most likely not the real Gu Changxing. He was a combination of the 100 Nights curse and the longevity curse. Such an existence was fatal to the world. It was a cursed tree, after all. It was self-evident what kind of impact it would have on the earth if it took root. No one had survived to compare it to Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl to see which one was more dangerous. Ordinary curses were afraid of the Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl, but the longevity curse tree was not just a tree. It was also a person. Everyone was justifiably terrified of such a power. However, he was already handling the Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl, so he didn't care much. He couldn't use curses against a person who possessed the Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl, but there were countless other ways to kill. Gu Changxing was too dangerous. If he didn't have any connection to Gu Jin, perhaps he wouldn't have to care. Sighing, Jiang Hao stopped thinking about it. After suppressing him, he would have more time. He could convince the other party to go to the blood pool to find Gu Jin. There would be a day when they would let go of their grudges. What's your cultivation realm now? Han Yuya asked as she sipped her tea. Late stage of the Golden Core realm, said Jiang Hao. I think I might be able to break through to the peak of the Golden Core realm in a year or 2. Are you 40 now? Han Yuya asked. Yes. Jiang Hao nodded. Peak of Golden Core realm at 40. That's impressive, said Han Yuya. How many people do you think in the Heavenly Notes sect can advance faster than you? Many people. Many seniors are far better than me, said Jiang Hao. Junior brother Han was about the same as him. The other true disciples might be even stronger. The true disciples were young and full of potential. Every single one of them had killed their way up. Do you have any thoughts of becoming a top disciple? Asked Han Yuya. It is every disciple's wish to make a name for themselves in the sect, said Jiang Hao. Han Yuya looked at Jiang Hao and didn't speak for a long time. The top disciples are indeed impressive, said Han Yuya and chuckled. When do you plan to compete? When my cultivation realm is sufficient, said Jiang Hao. In 1 or 2 years, junior brother Han might be able to advance to the late stage of the Golden Core realm. It had only been a few years since he had challenged him. At that time, he would advance to the peak of the Golden Core realm. He would be inches away from reaching the primordial spirit realm. When junior brother Han reached the late stage of the primordial spirit realm, he would be able to challenge the 10th ranked top disciples. Since junior brother Han had the Mountain River Sword embryo, his future was limitless. Han Yuya didn't ask any more questions. When the Dragon Cave appears, you have to be prepared to enter. Jiang Hao nodded. He hesitated. Do you have any advice regarding the Dragon Pearl, senior? Han Yuya glanced at him and didn't say anything. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Hao decided to wait and see. If it was safe, he might take Shaoli there. If not, he wouldn't. The Nine Nether would stay with Shaoli, just in case. After that, Hong Yuya left. Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief. He began to study the nameless manual. He was going out, so he needed to improve himself as much as possible. At that moment, the spirit beast wailed. Jiang Hao ignored it. As time passed, the number of people in the sect increased. Some had recovered from their injuries, while others had come out of seclusion. The number of people in the spirit her garden also increased. Jiang Hao was teaching everyone cultivation again. It benefited some lifeblood refinement and the Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators. However, his main target was Chung Cho. He explained only the things that would help him. Some of his juniors with higher cultivation realms asked for more explanation, but Jiang Hao shook his head. They felt a little disappointed, but they didn't say anything. Many people left a portion of their blood as payment. It was as if it was a transaction. Now, everyone knew that Jiang Hao was no longer hiding the fact that he practiced the blood wish path. Some people found it hard to believe, while others felt that it was a pity. Some people felt smug because they already knew about it. It was as if they could see that he would be the next Qianshun. Jiang Hao sealed the blood and placed it in a special storage treasure. Perhaps one day, this blood would be able to help him. For months later, around mid-November, Jiang Hao's spirit stones decreased by a lot. He stood in the courtyard and looked at the peach tree with a sigh. There weren't many peaches left on the tree. He was about to spend more than 50,000 spirit stones to achieve another incarnation. The first batch of harvest would arrive at the spiritual herb garden. There would be one today. However, before he went over, he wanted to see how many points he still needed. Lifeblood, 88/100 can be cultivated. Cultivation, 90/100 can be cultivated. He needed 22 points. He was a little worried that there would be more than 200 bubbles this time. It would be a waste if he used them all to advance. The first batch would give him 26, and the second might give him 30. He was worried. Jiang Hao took a deep breath and headed toward the spirit herb garden with the spirit beast. Master, when do you think we should confirm the candidacy for the would-be mistress? The spirit beast walked along the river. Jiang Hao glanced at it and continued walking forward. The senior sister Xiao Li keeps talking about. Are you serious about her? Asked the spirit beast. Does she like spirit beasts? I don't know, Jiang Hao said. Master, I found someone who likes animals. Do you want to meet her? The spirit beast asked. Jiang Hao ignored it. It was useless even if he found someone like that. He wasn't a person with a steady life. Even if he hadn't met Hong Yuya, he wouldn't have considered it. He struggled to survive among the strong. Why would he drag anyone to do that with him? After a while, Jiang Hao arrived at the spirit herb garden and saw rows of blue bubbles. He was relieved. He was not in a hurry to go over to absorb the bubbles. He counted them carefully. There were a total of 25 bubbles. He approached carefully. When 22 bubbles merged into his body, his cultivation and lifeblood points reached 100. The 3 bubbles were extra, and he didn't want to waste it. I wonder if it will disappear tomorrow. He rarely got so many bubbles, so he was reluctant to see if it would still be there tomorrow. But he had no choice. After taking care of the spirit herbs, Jiang Hao returned to his courtyard. Without hesitation, he decided to advance to the next stage. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 944. The demon is suddenly paying attention to the top disciple of the sect at 100 Flowers Lake. The November weather didn't bring any changes to the place. Hong Yuya sat in the pavilion as usual. It was as if she had always been here and had never left. Baiji looked at the sect master in a daze. She really didn't know what was on her mind. When the previous sect master had died, the Heavenly Note sect had been attacked by the surrounding demonic sections. It had almost fallen apart. In the end, the current sect master had taken up the position and led the disciples to war. After that, there were no more demonic sects in the vicinity who dared to attack them. The powerful individuals had turned their tails and become disciples of the Heavenly Note sect. The sect master had gone into seclusion. Baiji had thought that she needed to recuperate from her injuries and would take control of the Heavenly Note sect after coming out of seclusion. However, the sect master had no intention of taking back control. She didn't even care about it. Baiji occasionally asked her for advice on sect matters, but that was it. She could not figure it out. After she had become an immortal, Baiji realized just how terrifyingly powerful the sect master must be. Is it news from the mines? Hong Yi asked. She was making tea for herself. Yes. Baiji nodded. Senior Kendo seems to be competing with an extremely powerful existence. It must be in that tree. They say that the tree is the longevity curse tree. This tree itself is a person. I'm not sure why Kendo wants to fight this person. The matter is likely related to Baiju. We don't have any information about the longevity curse tree. If necessary, we can ask around. Even if the Heavenly Note sect annexed the surrounding areas, their foundation was still not good enough. Hong Yi nodded. Since the sect master wasn't interested, it meant the matter didn't concern their sect. There was no need to pay too much attention to it. It was enough if they had the general idea. They might be here for a long time, Baiji said. It's fine. Hong Yi was silent for a moment. You could try to ask him about cultivation problems. Perhaps it will be of help to you. Yes, thank you, sect master. Baiji was delighted. Senior Kendo was far more powerful than them. If she could listen to him, she would learn a lot. Even branch masters could participate in the sermons and the first-ranked top disciple. What's the cultivation of the first-ranked top disciple? Hong Yi asked. He's already at the peak of the return to Void Realm, said Baiji. What about the 10th? Hong Yi asked again. Early stage of the Soul Ascension Realm, Baiji said. Has anyone challenged him lately? Hong Yi nodded. Yes. Baiji the 100 Bones Forest, but he failed, Baiji said. She didn't understand why the sect master would suddenly ask about the top disciples. Let's talk about something else, Hong Yi said. No one knew what she was thinking. After that, Baiji told her about Feng Hua and the Great Thousand God sect. They hadn't found Feng Hua's main body, and she didn't dare show herself. There's news that the Great Thousand God sect is very interested in the South and the Divine Soul. They have been meeting all kinds of people and taking on all kinds of missions. They were especially fond of the Divine Soul of the Holy Master of Heavenly Saints sect. We heard from some people in the Lawless Tower that there are some avatars of the Holy Master. Should we try to get in touch with them? Baiji wasn't sure she should do it. Hong Yi was silent for a moment and did not say anything. She let Baiji make her own decision. Baiji reported all sorts of things, including the issue with Jiang Hao. However, the sect master didn't seem interested. After she left, Baiji thought about Senior Kendo. She decided to consult with the branch master and the first-ranked disciple. That would be a first. If they agreed, they would choose a few people from each branch to listen to sermons from Senior Kendo. However, they had to ask Senior Kendo first. Whether he was willing to teach them would depend on his mood. At noon the next day, Jiang Hao woke up from his cultivation. Purple energy was flowing around his body, and the power around him shook the surroundings. It caused space to distort. Late stage of the Immortal Ascension platform, Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief. He wasn't surprised. After that, he extracted the remaining cultivation and lifeblood to refine his cultivation. In the evening, he looked at his interface. Lifeblood, 3 of 100, cannot be cultivated. Cultivation, 2/100, cannot be cultivated. I have to accumulate points again. He quickly went to the Spirit Herb Garden to see if the 3 bubbles were still there. When he arrived, he found that the bubbles had already disappeared. If the bubbles weren't picked up immediately, they would just disappear. I wonder if purple and gold bubbles will be the same. Unfortunately, he would never know. He couldn't afford to fail. Jiang Hao tended to the spirit herbs. Half a month later, around early December, Jiang Hao absorbed another 28 bubbles. In another month and a half, 300 seeds would germinate. Only Senior Sister, yes, spirit seeds were left. It would take a long time for him to advance further. Jiang Hao returned to his residence after explaining the issues with cultivation to the others in the Spirit Herb Garden. He did it 4 times a month. However, there was an accident this time. There seemed to be news that the first top disciple was at the mines. This made Jiang Hao curious. He asked Cheng Cho to find out what was happening. Jiang Hao needed to make sure the peach tree incarnated successfully. In the courtyard, he looked at the 2 remaining fruits on the tree. He picked one and began to carve a formation around it. He arranged the 50,000 spirit stones around the formation. He activated it. The incarnation was happening. The spirit beast guarded the peach tree. It saw the tree burning for the whole night. "Master, the tree is burning. Aren't you going to tie me to it anymore?" asked the spirit beast. Jiang Hao didn't answer. The spirit beast no longer needed to be tied up. The power in its body bursts out occasionally. The next day, Jiang Hao came out of the room and found the spirit beast hanging under the eaves. That was strange. Was Hong Ye here? However, he realized the spirit beast wasn't unconscious or bruised. "Master, I'm ready. We can start now." Jiang Hao was speechless. He ignored it and went straight to the peach tree and began searching through the ashes. He found a seed. Jiang Hao praised it. Immortal peach tree seed. A seed of the immortality peach tree that carries spiritual energy. It is a seed nurtured from the core of an ancient divine tree's fruit. It has a trace of the divine tree's traits. After taking root, germinating, bearing fruit, and undergoing incarnation, it will become a divine tree. Water it with fresh water every day, and it will take root and sprout after a day. It's still the same as before. I wonder how long it'll take to become a divine tree. There was only one more incarnation left. Jiang Hao was curious about the conditions for the last incarnation. It definitely won't be like the other times. He could only wait for the results next year. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 945. The one's always looking for trouble. Looking at the seed in his hand, Jiang Hao didn't think too much about it. Instead, he placed it into the soil. Then, he watered it and waited for it to sprout. He was very curious about the final incarnation of the immortal peach tree. He hoped the final incarnation would change the divine tree. The incarnations didn't make the fruit special, but they did make it delicious. I wonder if it will fail. What will happen if it fails? Jiang Hao was doubtful. After that, he headed to the spirit herb garden. Seeing Jiang Hao walk out, the spirit beast immediately jumped down and chased after him. "Master, wait for me. Let's discuss this." The spirit beast was extremely fast. It had 3 rings. Its collar, the cosmic rings, and the ring he had given to it. Jiang Hao didn't pay attention to the spirit beast. Instead, he went to the spirit herb garden and asked Cheng Cho about the mines. Lu Xingchen had not been around lately, so there were many things that he did not know. He wondered if he was still looking for another remnant soul. "Senior brother Jiang," Cheng Cho said. "What's wrong?" Jiang Hao asked. At that moment, they were in the spirit field. Jiang Hao looked at the spirit herbs. He could call the senior sister over and ask her to sign for them soon. The remaining 300 spirit herbs were not urgent to plant. Didn't something happen at the mines? I heard that all the top disciples and branch masters are there. I don't know what exactly is going on, Cheng Cho said. Jiang Hao thought for a moment. There was one possibility. Maybe I should ask for advice from Senior Kendo. What kind of existence was Senior Kendo? His cultivation realm was enough for the entire Heavenly Notes sect to tremble before him. He naturally hoped that he would learn something from a senior like that. It would be of great benefit. So they all went. Being a top disciple was indeed not bad, but it was also quite troublesome. If he couldn't ask any direct questions there, he could always ask Hong Yuya and Senior Dan Yuan. So far, he had not encountered any problems with his cultivation. He had questions about immortals, but he did not understand them. Senior Dan Yuan had explained cultivation issues to Zhang very simply. Unfortunately, junior brother Han isn't here. Perhaps he's the one who should be asked to go. Kendo was undoubtedly a sword cultivator, and junior brother Han had already unknowingly embarked on the path of sword cultivation. At the mines, the place that should have been where the miners gathered was covered by sword intent. They were divided into 20 parts. Ku Wuchang was on his guard. This senior's strength was unbelievable. You can ask questions now. And don't worry. Other than me, no one can hear what you ask me, Kendo said. Ku Wuchang hesitated for a moment. I would like to ask you about sword cultivation, senior. How do I help a golden core realm cultivator on a path to sword cultivation? Huh? Kendo was surprised. Who are you asking for? I have a disciple. We only recently learned that he has the talent for sword cultivation, but our sect doesn't have any sword cultivators. It's easy to teach him simple things, but it's very difficult to pave a path for him further into the world of sword cultivation, said Ku Wuchang. And you're willing to help your disciple? Kendo smiled. I didn't know there were people like you in demonic sections. I cannot let such a promising talent go to waste, that's all, said Ku Wuchang. It's easy. I can either teach you the sword's way for a year or him. You choose. Do you want me to teach you so you can teach him? Or do you want me to teach him directly? Asked Kendo. He went out. We cannot find him right now, said Ku Wuchang. Oh, Kendo was a little regretful, but I'm still curious. If he were here, what would you have chosen? I don't know. Ku Wuchang was silent for a moment and shook his head. Kendo laughed and began to teach him the way of the sword. The pinnacle of sword cultivation is the will. If you want to go far, you can't be rigidly bound by rules. Your will comes first, and then the sword's will. Ku Wuchang's mind was filled with boundless knowledge. It made him feel a little bitter. At night, when everyone withdrew, they found that Ku Wuchang was still there. This puzzled everyone. He needs to stay here for a year, so you don't have to wait for him, said Kendo kindly. Everyone was surprised. They didn't understand why Ku Wuchang had to stay here for a year. However, they did not ask further. Everyone's learning process was different. Baiji thought for a moment and said, Senior, are you free next year? Are you guys coming back next year too? Kendo shook his head. There's no need for that. You guys won't be able to digest what I've taught you in a year. Senior, you've misunderstood. I was hoping to have a group of disciples listen to your lectures, said Baiji respectfully. Oh, Kendo thought for a moment. That's all right then. I'm bored anyway. It's good to find something to do. There'll always be some people who'll find new trouble. Baiji was speechless. She didn't quite understand why the senior would say such a thing. However, it reminded her of Xiao Li and Jiang Hao. They were always in some sort of trouble. One was always in trouble, and the other was simply unteachable. She could send them here to learn too. It wasn't that they were special in the sect. It was simply because their names stuck with her. All right, I taught 2 people before. I'd like to meet them if it's okay, said Kendo. Baiji and the others were surprised. Senior Kendo met others from the Heavenly Note sect before. Jiang hadn't known anything about the mines. He did not think that this matter had anything to do with him. He just wanted to increase his cultivation realm as soon as possible. When the Dragon Cave appeared, or Shangwan Qingsu returned, he wanted to be ready. Fortunately, the Shangwan clan didn't have an existence at the Immortal Ascension platform. Even if they used special treasures to reach it, they wouldn't be able to use it as they pleased. As long as he made it to the peak of the Immortal Ascension platform, he would be able to face the Shangwan clan. After returning to his house, Jiang Hao began to study the Nameless Manual while waiting for the next day. When the sun set, the stars lit up the sky. A red light jumped out of the forest. The morning sun shone brightly in the courtyard. Jiang Hao walked to the immortal peach tree. A tiny sapling came into view, and beside it was a purple bubble. Divine Power Fragment +1. Jiang Hao looked at his interface. Name, Jiang Hao. Age, 40. Cultivation Realm. Late stage of the Immortal Ascension platform. Cultivation Method. Heavenly Sound 100 Revolutions. Hong Ming Heart Sutra. Divine Ability. 9 Revolutions Death Substitution. Unique. Daily Appraisal. Clear and Pure Heart. Reappearance of Hidden Spirit. Divine Might. Revival of Withered Tree. Heavenly Cauldron. Indestructible Vajra. Lifeblood. 17/100 can be cultivated. Cultivation. 18/100 can be cultivated. Divine Power. 3/3 can be obtained. He could get another divine ability. He wondered what it would be this time. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 946. Great news. There was no way to know about the matter of incarnation for the time being, so Jiang Hao wasn't in a hurry. He needed to see what kind of divine ability would appear. After watering the flower, Jiang Hao walked around. Then, he returned to his room and sat cross-legged on the floor. The spirit beast asked him if he wanted to go to the spirit herb garden. He told it that he wasn't going yet. The spirit beast left him alone after that. It said that it wanted to look for a new mistress. His friends in the underworld would help it. It was eager to find a suitable senior sister for Jiang Hao, since Xiao Li had already found one. Jiang Hao shook his head. Senior sister Miao also joined in their little game. She was very experienced at matchmaking. After all, it was a headache. Jiang Hao looked at the interface and finally chose to extract the ability. He felt this spiritual energy covering him. His eyes and palms were hot. Was it a divine ability related to the eyes and palm? However, the most obvious feeling was in the surroundings. What divine ability could change the surroundings? Jiang Hao didn't think too much about it. Soon, everything around him disappeared, and the strange feelings faded away. Jiang Hao felt as if a lifetime had passed when he opened his eyes. The sky was still bright. Not too much time had passed. Then he looked at the interface. He wanted to see the name of the new divine ability. Divine ability. 9 revolutions, death, substitution. Unique, daily appraisal, clear and pure heart. Reappearance of hidden spirit, divine might. Revival of withered tree, heavenly cauldron, indestructible Vajra, myriad nature forest. What divine ability is this? Jiang Hao was surprised. He didn't understand the meaning of this divine ability. Then, he used his daily appraisal ability to find out its use. After a while, he opened his eyes and walked out of the room. When he arrived at the courtyard, he looked at the snow lotus. At that moment, a mysterious rune appeared in his eyes, which transformed into a snow lotus. Only then did Jiang Hao stretch out his hand and move it toward the snow lotus. In an instant, an identical snow lotus appeared. It was just an illusion, but it looked real. He took the flower and looked at it. It was indeed a snow lotus, and it was separate from the real snow lotus. The aura of the snow lotus in the courtyard was weaker now. With a wave of his hand, the snow lotus in his hand turned into specks of light and re-entered the snow lotus. This divine ability is a little strange. Jiang Hao felt that it was similar to the clone talisman, but it was also completely different. The clone talisman used the power of the talisman, but the appearance could be used by others. The myriad nature forest stripped away a portion of the object's aura and power to create something identical. I wonder what it will do to humans. He used myriad nature forest on himself. For a moment, he felt a trace of his body being stripped away. Then, an illusory image of him appeared beside him. His aura and appearance were all his, but it did not feel like him. It was an illusion and only had a primordial spirit realm cultivation. Other than that, there was nothing strange. He could not even control it. It seemed that other than being stripped off from his body, there was no other connection to the illusion. It functioned independently, but it had no consciousness. What use is this? It was not as good as a clone talisman. After thinking for a long time, Jiang Hao took out the divine soul of the Holy Master. He had an idea. If he separated a portion of the soul in this way, would it be easier to absorb? After a while, a copy of the divine soul was in his hand. However, if it could be absorbed, it meant that the clone that was separated with the myriad nature forest would affect the main body. He felt that this ability was even more useless. After hesitating for a moment, Jiang Hao took out the heavenly fate misfortune pearl. If his thing could be separated, it would be amazing. He didn't dare to try. He needed to ask first. At the very least, he had to ask Hong Yuya. He first tried other magical treasures and found that the ability worked fine on them. That meant that it would work on the heavenly fate misfortune pearl too. He just had to wait for Hong Yuya to visit, so he could ask her about it. After hesitating for a moment, he took out his heavenly blade. After some time, Jiang Hao gave up. He couldn't use it. The ability didn't work on the heavenly blade. That meant it might not actually work on the heavenly fate misfortune pearl. The details would have to wait until then. After that, Jiang Hao left the courtyard and went around to look for some demonic beasts. He tried, but he could not separate its consciousness as he had done with himself. In the end, Jiang Hao found Shaoli. She was having her dinner. When she saw him, she hesitantly picked out a piece of meat for him. "Here, senior brother. Have some," she said reluctantly. Jiang Hao looked at the meat and shook his head slightly. Shaoli was happy. She ate happily. It seemed that for her, the happiest thing in the world was to be able to eat without distractions. "Senior brother Jiang, why are you here?" she asked curiously. "I came to find you," Jiang Hao said. He had come to ask her for something. He wanted to see if the myriad nature forest worked on something that wasn't human but had consciousness like the nine nether. "Oh, why are you looking for me?" Shaoli was surprised. "I want the bead for a while," Jiang Hao said. "Little Wong." Shaoli took out the bead with the nine nether and handed it to Jiang Hao. The nine nether still looked like a dog. "And the dragon pearl too," Jiang Hao said. For the sake of safety, he planned to prepare everything. After getting the items, Jiang Hao headed to the spirit herb garden and started to take care of the spirit herbs. Days passed, and it was time for the 300 spirit herbs to finally sprout. Without any hesitation, Jiang Hao went to the center of the bubbles and waited for all the bubbles to merge into his body. Cultivation +1, lifeblood +1, spirit sword +1, strength +1, spirit +1. There were a total of 45 bubbles. It was a lot, but it was still less than half. Senior sister Yes Spirit Herbs wouldn't be able to help him advance even after 4 months. However, there was still a year or two before he could reach the late stage of the Immortal Ascension platform. On that day, Jiang Hao heard some rumors that the sect was going to start competition. It was an extremely rare opportunity. The sect was going to select some outstanding disciples to meet a senior and hear him lecture. This time, the competition would be held among the various branches. After that, the people of the 12 branches would be ranked according to their strength. The further he went, the more likely he would receive more guidance. However, some people were selected by the sect. Jiang Hao didn't pay much attention to it. He knew that it was a good thing for the sect to send outstanding disciples to meet Senior Kendo. However, Jiang Hao didn't care, nor did he want to go. He wanted to find a way to see if he could continue planting high-grade spirit herb seeds. Kendo and the others were in the mines. If he went there alone, he would be targeted. However, the sect soon decided on the quota for the number of disciples to be sent. "Good news, senior brother Jiang," Chung Cho said excitedly. "The sect had decided to keep a spot for you." Jiang Hao was speechless. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 947. Do you want to die? Were they calling him out? Jiang Hao was surprised. They wouldn't have selected him under normal circumstances. So why had they selected him? "Who else is there besides me?" he asked. Junior sister Xiao Li and senior brother Han Ming are in the Foundation Establishment and Golden Core category. However, senior brother Han Ming is not in the sect. "I don't know if you'll be back in time," Chung Cho said. Xiaoli was there too? Jiang Hao was puzzled. It was only natural for Han Ming to be selected, but why Xiaoli? She didn't listen to others teaching her cultivation. Moreover, her cultivation realm had not improved for a long time. What was she going to do? Was she trying to cause trouble? "Who else?" Jiang Hao asked. Chung Cho mentioned the names of a few more people. Strangely, they weren't that talented. Jiang Hao didn't understand. These people usually functioned independently. They were all troublemakers. What did the sect mean by this? He really couldn't understand. Jiang Hao didn't think too much about it. After all, he would have to wait until October to go to the mines. There were still 9 months left. That was good too. He didn't have to participate in the competition. Those who participated had to be ranked accordingly. When the time came, he would just brush it off. After that, the preparations for the competition began, and every branch was bustling with activity. They wanted to seize this opportunity. Jiang Hao didn't pay any attention to it. He continued to take care of the spirit herbs and studied the myriad nature forest. He felt that this divine ability was very strange. He had always wanted to attack the Nine Nether, but he had given up. Around early February, Jiang Hao asked Cheng Chou to call Duan Muyan. When she saw the spirit herbs that had already sprouted, she was silent. She looked at Jiang Hao in shock. "Junior brother, are you sure you aren't good at refining pills?" "Perhaps you really are a genius," Duan Muyan said. "If someone had such great talent in botany, they were usually good at refining pills. It was such a waste for such a person not to try it. If he was not careful, he would regret it for the rest of his life." It was still early. Many times, pill refinement relied on a type of spiritual energy. If one didn't master this spiritual energy, it would disappear over time. Jiang Hao nodded and thanked her. He really didn't have any such intentions. He knew very well why he had planted them. The only thing he had some talent in was probably talisman making. As for alchemy, it was too time-consuming, and he wasn't interested. He wanted to focus on increasing his cultivation realm. "Junior brother, your ability is more powerful than I thought. I really didn't expect this," Duan Muyan said. "Luckily, I didn't look past you." Jiang Hao nodded. He thanked senior sister Duanmu. If it weren't for her superior grade spirit herb seeds, he wouldn't have been able to advance so quickly. Although it seemed like a pity that he had spent tens of thousands of spirit stones on them, others would not understand what he had earned. "I don't have any more spirit herb seeds right now. If I do, can I find you plant them?" Duan Muyan asked. Jiang Hao thought for a moment. "Of course, senior sister. I can do it if I am free." After he advanced, high-grade spirit herb seeds might not be of much use to him. He didn't even know if he could plant them in the future. After seeing her off, Jiang Hao glanced at senior sister Yes spirit herbs. That would take another 3 months. Who knew how many bubbles there would be? Days passed, and Jiang Hao followed his daily routine. Every day, he took care of the spirit herbs, made talismans, and studied the nameless manual. Occasionally, he would explain the cultivation issues to Cheng Chou. During that time, he went to the Snow Lotus Pavilion and asked for September Spring. He realized that it was already gone. Even the red azure tea was almost finished. Fortunately, he had a lot of good tea on him. It should be able to last 10 years. Every day, Jiang Hao checked the immortal peach tree. The sapling came up to his knees. In a few days, it came up to his waist. And then, in the blink of an eye, it was as tall. Later, it was taller than the surrounding walls. Days went by, and it began to flower. It was already the middle of May when senior sister Yes spirit herbs also sprouted. When Jiang Hao arrived, he obtained 20 blue bubbles. This meant that these spirit herbs were extraordinary. However, it also consumed the most spirit stones. He only had 260,000 spirit stones left. It was more than 10,000 spirit stones than he had expected. The reason was that at the start of the competition, everyone was worried that they would fight with other sections. The price of goods rose too quickly. Although more people bought talismans, the profits were far less than his expenses. 260,000 spirit stones were still a lot. It might not be as much as 400,000, but still it was a lot. There was no need to worry about running out of spirit stones. When the seed sprouted, Jiang Hao didn't rush to inform senior sister Lian Qin. He continued to take care of the spirit herbs and waited for Cheng Chou. In the evening, the lecture ended. There were quite a few people who left behind their blood. After carefully putting them away, Jiang Hao returned to his courtyard. He sat by the table and used the universe in a palm to seal the blood. That ability was very useful. He hadn't used many divine abilities lately because he hadn't needed to fight with anyone. It was necessary to use them. "You are cultivating the blood wish path?" asked a voice from behind. Jiang Hao turned and saw a figure in a red and white dress. She walked over and sat opposite him. "Senior," he stood up and bowed. "Some juniors assume I cultivate that path, so they always leave their blood behind whenever I help them with their cultivation. If you really cultivated the blood wish path, you might be able to overturn everyone's assumption regarding that path," said Hong Yuye. It was simply a suggestion. The blood was left behind voluntarily by others. He had never asked for it. The people who cultivated blood wish path used blood by burning their life force because the blood needed to be pure. Senior, you must be joking. I feel like people's thinking often changes after cultivating that kind of path, said Jiang Hao. Was there a gathering lately? Hong Ye looked at the peach tree and asked. Jiang Hao nodded. Senior, have you heard of a divine ability that can strip off a part of everything? What divine ability? Hong Ye looked at Jiang Hao. Myriad Nature Forest, Jiang Hao said. Hong Ye was silent for a moment. Then, she looked at Jiang Hao. What do you plan to do with that divine ability? Is it possible to use it on the heavenly fate misfortune pearl? Jiang Hao took out the pearl and asked. He had already made an excuse if she asked how he got that ability. But she hadn't asked. Hong Ye laughed. She looked at Jiang Hao teasingly. Do you think you've lived too long already? You don't want to live any longer? Jiang Hao wasn't surprised. He wanted to ask anyway. No one who peeks into the heavenly fate misfortune pearl survives. And those who want to clone it, well, what kind of cultivation realm do you need to be able to withstand that kind of disaster? Hong Yuye asked. Then, what about using it on the Nine Nether? Jiang Hao took out the Nine Nether. Hong Yuye looked at Jiang Hao. For a moment, she couldn't tell if this person was being bold or stupid. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 948. For me, Jiang Hao wasn't imagining things. He felt that the ability could work on the Nine Nether. However, he knew that using it on the heavenly fate misfortune pearl was dangerous. Hong Yui's strength was extraordinary, so it might have been enough to avoid danger. The main reason was that he wanted to use the item separated from the heavenly fate misfortune pearl to complete his plan. If he couldn't do it, it would be quite troublesome. Now, it seemed that he had to think about it carefully. He had to think of other ways. The heavenly fate misfortune pearl was too risky. Even prying into it brought disaster. It brought misfortune to all. However, the Nine Nether was different. Although the Nine Nether was terrifying, it was not invincible or a bringer of ill luck. It had many things it feared. It feared the heavenly fate misfortune pearl, the earth extreme silent pearl, and the dragon pearl. Every single one of them could make it surrender. If the pearls were placed together, the Nine Nether would be terrified to do anything at all. What do you want to do with the Nine Nether? Hong Yuye asked. She didn't discourage him like before. Jiang Hao was certain that it was possible to use his ability on the Nine Nether. The Nine Nether is chaotic to begin with, and the part that is separated from it will also be similar. It may even develop some intelligence. But if we use it well, the danger would be reduced. You want to use the separated Nine Nether often? Hong Yuye took a sip of the tea Jiang Hao had brewed. He'll give it to Xiao Li for safekeeping. She's a dragon and wears a dragon pearl. The Nine Nether won't dare to bother her. Even if it does something wrong, I can seal it back, said Jiang Hao. That way, the Nine Nether could be used to do more things. Hong Ye thought for a moment. How do you plan to do it? Jiang Hao explained what he planned. In fact, it was very simple. He would have the heavenly fate misfortune pearl, the earth extreme silent pearl, and the dragon pearl ready beside him. After that, he would use his divine ability. The problem was that his cultivation realm might not be enough. He might not be strong enough to try it. After all, the power of the Nine Nether might backfire on the caster. The Myriad Nature Forest wasn't easy to use. The others nearby could detect him using it. It might be difficult to succeed if he was targeted while using it. Han Ye looked at Jiang Hao and didn't speak for a long time. You can get a try. Thank you, Senior, said Jiang Hao. He did have a chance of success, especially with the heavenly fate misfortune pearl and the earth extreme silent pearl in his hand. The Nine Nether wouldn't dare try anything. When they were ready, Jiang Hao surrounded Nine Nether with the three pearls. The Nine Nether was terrified. Jiang Hao looked at Hong Yuye, who sat opposite him. After she nodded, he activated the divine ability Myriad Nature Forest. Countless mysterious symbols appeared. Divine abilities consumed spiritual energy, and using an ability on something like 9 nether consumed even more. In the evening, Jiang Hao activated the reappearance of the hidden spirit. At midnight, the runes burned brighter. Although a phantom of the 9 nether appeared, it was still far from enough. Before his power was exhausted, vast spiritual energy surged into his body. He could continue using his divine ability. 3 days later, Jiang Hao bled from his eyes, but he didn't stop. He continued to use the myriad nature forest. For a moment, the phantom of the 9 nether began to appear clearer. Chaos and distortion began to invade his primordial spirit. In his mind, Jiang Hao saw the chaos rushing toward him like a ferocious beast. He was calm and composed. Then, he stepped forward in the shadow of the heavenly blade condensed in his hand. Then he slashed. It was unstoppable. The chaos disintegrated under the heavenly blade, and his primordial spirit stood proudly in his heart with a purple aura. At the same time, the runes stopped spinning, and the 9 nether's figure appeared before him. Jiang Hao stretched out his hand and touched the 9 nether. His hand bled, and his bones cracked. The 9 nether released a wisp of black gas. It was chaotic. However, under the encirclement of the heavenly fate misfortune pearl, the 9 nether didn't dare move. Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief. He was injured, and it was quite serious. Jiang Hao felt very tired. Fortunately, he had succeeded. Without hesitation, he extended his other hand and used the universe in a palm to seal the 9 nether that had been separated. He would hand it over to Shaoli later. "Thank you for your help, Senior." He bowed to Hong Yuya. He knew that he would be lethally injured if not for her. The myriad nature forest required a high cultivation realm. "How do you plan to thank me?" Hong Yuya asked as she sipped her tea. "He'll do anything you want, Senior," Jiang Hao said seriously. Hong Yuya looked at him and fell silent for a long time. She didn't say anything else. Jiang Hao rested and tried to heal himself. His other divine ability, Revival of Withered Tree, worked hard to heal him. It could heal every kind of injury. However, the recovery was slow. After a while, he felt better. He wiped the blood from the corner of his eyes. "You separated 9 nether for Shaoli. Why do you want to clone the heavenly fate misfortune pearl?" Hong Yuya asked. Jiang Hao said respectfully, "For you, Senior." Hong Yuya looked confused. The root cause lies in the Shangwan clan. The clues about the one behind the stone tablets point to them. Whether it's Heavenly King Taomu, the end of all things, or the great Thousand God sect, they're all from overseas. If there's a force overseas that we can use, it will be easier for our investigation. Therefore, if I can help them, they'll help me. I need to make a clone of the heavenly fate misfortune pearl to help them with their curse. Hong Yuya looked at Jiang Hao and smiled. "You've put in a lot of effort for my task." "That is what I do," Senior Jiang Hao said. "Can your spirit beast compare to you in the lies you speak?" Hong Yuya asked. Jiang Hao didn't answer that. Hong Yuya looked at the immortal peach tree. "Can it really become a divine tree after one more incarnation?" "Yes." Jiang Hao nodded. The immortal peach tree only had one last incarnation left. The last incarnation wouldn't be ordinary. "When do you plan to make it go through the last incarnation?" Hong Yuya asked. "It depends on the timing." Jiang Hao shook his head. "Come closer," said Hong Yuya as she looked at Jiang Hao. Jiang Hao was puzzled, but he leaned forward. At that moment, Hong Yuya tapped Jiang Hao's forehead. Her touch was cold. Immediately after, the vast aura spread. By the time Jiang Hao reacted, he was already flying backward. Then, he crashed heavily into the wall. An intense pain spread through his back. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 949. Still thankful after being attacked by the demoness Jiang Hao got up helplessly. He didn't understand why Hong Yuya attacked him suddenly. However, it had been a long time since she had done that. He had forgotten how vast her aura was. It seemed she was still far too strong. The gap between their strength was insurmountable. What realm did one need to be in order to get close to her strength? Jiang Hao circulated his power and continued to heal himself. He frowned. He found that his injuries had disappeared. "Thank you, Senior." Jiang Hao lowered his head gratefully. It felt strange. She had attacked him, but had helped him heal. Hong Ye looked at him with interest. "Show me the 9 nether." Jiang Hao knew that she was asking about the clone 9 nether. He took it out and removed the seal. The illusionary 9 nether was lying motionless on the ground. It was afraid. Jiang Hao looked at the creature. It was interesting that this creature had made the human emperor wage a war back in the day. Hong Ye looked at it and asked Jiang Hao to call Shaoli over. He sent out a communication talisman to Shaoli. Shaoli walked into the courtyard with a guilty look on her face. She was worried that she had been called here to be yelled at. Jiang Hao had never called her before. Something must have happened. It wasn't a good thing. "Senior brother Jiang, senior sister," Shaoli said tentatively. "Come in." Hong Yuye smiled. Shaoli heaved a sigh of relief when she saw her and quickly walked to the table. Then, she searched her pockets and took out 2 dates. She offered them each. Jiang Hao looked at the date. He wiped it and put it in his mouth. It was a little sour. "Senior brother Jiang, why were you looking for me?" Shaoli asked. "Look." Jiang Hao pointed at the 9 nether. "Little Wang." Shaoli went closer and poked it. She realized that it was motionless. "Senior brother Jiang, is little Wang dead?" she asked. Jiang Hao put away the pearl. The 9 nether moved, but it was still afraid of Shaoli. "It's alive. Does little Wang remember me?" Shaoli poked the 9 nether. Then, Shaoli made it stand up. Unfortunately, it wasn't obedient this time. Shaoli was a little disappointed. "He'll buy you something to eat," Hong Yuye said. Shaoli was happy. At least, the 9 nether was out now. It used to be in a bead all along. Jiang Hao returned the dragon pearl to Shaoli. As for the 9 nether's main body, he would keep it with him. He could merge the 2 9 nethers at any time. Taking advantage of his free time, Jiang Hao talked about the upcoming sect competition. He wanted to hear the senior teach cultivation and wanted to make Shaoli listen. If she fell asleep, it might offend the senior. Mu Longyu had returned overseas. At that moment, the 11 heavenly kings met at the sea. There were 12 pillars of water in the area, and on each pillar was a throne. 11 kings were sitting on the thrones atop 11 pillars, except for one. Mu Longyu was in his seat. "Is Hai Luo still not coming back?" asked a woman. No one answered. "He might not be coming back," said Mu Longyu. "Then, what should we do?" asked a brawny man. "Do you really think that you can become an immortal if all 12 heavenly kings are here?" Heavenly King Taomu asked. The others fell silent. A heavenly king had never become an immortal. Or rather, they had never collectively become immortals. Although some heavenly kings had managed to become an immortal before, they had had to abdicate their thrones. Even so, it was still very difficult. The 12 heavenly kings must become immortals together. Otherwise, no one would be able to. Even if Heavenly King Hai Luo was present, it would be extremely difficult to become an immortal. Without him, it was impossible. "Heavenly King Taomu, do you have any other solution?" asked a woman. Heavenly King Taomu fell silent. He had no idea what to do. "Did you notice anything?" "King Hai Luo has been acting strange lately," someone said. "What does he intend to do?" asked a young woman. "Do you still remember the woman who fell into the abyssal sea? Do you think King Hai Luo did something to her? I think the reason he is absent is not because he doesn't want to be an immortal. He might have wanted to break away from being the heavenly king and become an immortal by himself," said another man. Everyone was surprised. Had Hai Luo planned all that? I don't think that's true. It's not easy to break away from the heavenly king's fortune so easily. We all know that. By the way, have you heard of the Dragon Cave? Talmu suddenly asked. "I heard about it." Mu Longyu nodded. "I also heard something else. Heavenly King Talmu has been in contact with the Heavenly Tower. You know about it, right?" "Looks like you know about it too, King Mu," said King Talmu. "I heard that there are some incredible things in the Dragon Cave. The end of all things and the Saint Bandits both have their eyes on the cave. There is something there that they want to awaken. The Dragon Cave isn't as simple as it seems." Then the heavenly kings began to discuss. When the discussion ended, King Mu Longyu said, I will be making a trip to the Heavenly Notes sect soon. Is there anything you need me to take for Hailuo? Why are you going there again? Asked a woman who is also a heavenly king. I have a person who might be able to guide us to become immortals, said Mu Longyu truthfully. Really? Is there someone that amazing in that sect? Mu Longyu didn't say anything. Instead, he said, but there will be a price to pay. Are you willing to pay the price? If this fails, I'm willing to pay any price needed, said King Taomu. The others didn't say anything. They needed time to think about it. The 11 heavenly kings stopped talking. They disappeared at the same time. Right after they were gone, the pillars also disappeared. The heavenly spirit tribe's headquarters were on an island. Some seafood businesses were seriously impacted because of the recent issue at the sea. Someone needed to take care of it. The internal clansmen spent a few months trying to solve it, but could not do anything. A few days ago, a clansman returned from a sea. He had good news. The issue of the water quality in the east has been solved. Good news. A young man who looked to be in his early 20s was surrounded by a group of people. Some seemed to admire him, while others seemed skeptical. The young man was calm and unfazed. At that moment, a middle-aged man received him. What's your name? Asked the middle-aged man. Tong Wu, Senior, the young man said. All right, what reward do you want? I hope that if there are any problems in the clan, younger people will be allowed to try to solve them. I have no wish but to solve our clan's issues, said Tong Wu. Why? I want my mother's memorial tablet to be placed in the ancestral hall. All right, said the middle-aged man. I'll give you a chance. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 950. Who was this disciple? After Hong Ye left, Jiang Hao went on with his daily routine. The immortal peach tree had already begun to bear fruit and was waiting for the final incarnation. 3 months later, around mid-August, Jiang Hao picked one of the peaches and tasted it. It was too sweet. He had never eaten such delicious peaches before, but there was nothing extraordinary about it. Without any spiritual energy, it would not help with his cultivation. It was delicious. Then he appraised it. He realized that there was no mention of incarnation yet. It seemed that he had to wait until the fruits were mature. The sect competition was about to begin. Jiang Hao wanted to participate as well. However, it was a pity that junior brother Han Ming had not returned yet. He had missed an opportunity. Anyone could miss out on Kendo's teaching, but Han Ming simply couldn't. At the end of August, the competition began. This was a sect-wide competition. Jiang Hao's opponents were other Golden Core Realm disciples. All Golden Core Realm cultivators competed. He decided to admit defeat after facing someone at the peak of the Gold Core Realm. Most of the late-stage Golden Core Realm cultivators won. Xiaoli was brilliant. She was ranked the best among the Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators. Even a cultivator at the peak of the Foundation Establishment Realm had lost to her. Her fame rose. The Cliff of Broken Hearts had another promising disciple. It was just that Xiaoli had been stuck in that realm for a long time. She was extraordinary. She was a true disciple, so it was expected. Xiaoli even ranked higher than Jiang Hao. Jiang Hao was decent among the Golden Core Realm cultivators. Jiang Hao felt a little helpless when he knew of the result. However, the sect knew how Xiaoli was. He didn't know why the sect chose Xiaoli to listen to a lecture. He had no choice but to wait until October. Senior Sister Lianqin had already been informed of Senior Sister Ye's spirit herbs, and she wasn't very surprised. Senior Sister Yi, on the other hand, had made a visit. She wanted to see for herself. She couldn't believe what she saw. Rumor has it that someone from the Candlelight Pill Pavilion came across a gifted gardener who can raise extraordinary spirit herbs. I assume that's you? Jiang Hao shook his head. He felt uneasy that he was famous. He denied it. But Senior Sister Yi didn't seem like she was going to give him any more seeds. Senior Sister Yi sighed and went to look for the spirit beast to discuss the matter of her golden chickens. Jiang Hao didn't know what kind of discussion they would have. After that, nothing happened in Jiang Hao's life. Other than explaining the cultivation method to everyone He also took care of the spirit herbs. The days returned to normal, and he went about his daily routine. October arrived very quickly. It was time to go to the mines. It was almost time to go and listen to Senior Kendo's teachings. Jiang Hao didn't expect too much. He wouldn't be able to understand much anyway. It would be too profound for him. It was already October, and he wasn't too far away from advancing to the peak of his cultivation realm. Name, Jiang Hao. Age, 41. Cultivation realm. Late stage of the Immortal Ascension platform. Cultivation method. Heavenly Sound 100 Revolutions. Hong Ming Heart Sutra. Divine ability. 9 revolutions death substitution. Unique. Daily appraisal. Clear and pure heart. Reappearance of hidden spirit. Divine might. Revival of withered tree. Heavenly cauldron. Indestructible Vajra. Myriad nature forest. Lifeblood. 82/100 can be cultivated. Cultivation. 80/100 can be cultivated. Divine. Abilities. 0/3 cannot be obtained. The cultivation and lifeblood points were at 80. Jiang Hao was surprised. It was much quicker than expected. It had only been a year. It was all because of the high-grade spirit herbs. Unfortunately, he didn't have more. The Candlelight Pill Pavilion would take a long time before they gave him more. "We're going to the mines today," Jiang Hao said to Cheng Chou before he left. "Don't worry, senior brother Jiang," said Cheng Chou. "You can leave the spirit herb garden to me." Jiang Hao nodded and left with Shaoli. This time, the spirit beast didn't follow. It was very busy. "Goodbye, senior brother Cheng." Shaoli waved at Cheng Chou. "Senior brother Jiang, if I don't listen, I won't be given any food, right?" she asked as they headed toward the mines. "Yes." Jiang Hao nodded. Shaoli nodded. She decided to listen to the lecture very attentively. Jiang Hao glanced at her and sighed. He knew Shaoli very well. She even fell asleep when he taught her. She wouldn't care about others. He had no choice but to wait and see. The sect attached great importance to this lecture, and Elder Baiji personally came to attend it. The other disciples bowed in respect and didn't dare to make a sound. They found a place and sat cross-legged on the ground. After helping Shaoli find a seat, Jiang Hao sat at the back. At that moment, he saw that there was an area covered by the swords and tent in the mines, which was a little surprising. He waited for Senior Kendo to arrive. It had been a year, but Gue had not made any progress. She was still wasting time to find a solution to the Gu Changsheng issues. She did not know when he would be willing to negotiate. As for Jiang Hao, he hadn't sensed the sub-ring being activated. Shangguan Qingsu might not have reached yet. He still needed some time. There was no news of Dragon Cave either. Jiang Hao was not in a hurry. At that moment, everyone was already in position, and the swords in tent burst out from the mines. A shadow appeared in the sky. Everyone below stood up and bowed respectfully. "All right. I see there are quite a number of people here. There are people of all cultivation realms, too. It'll start with the lifeblood refinement realm. Feel free to ask any questions you have," said Kendo. Everyone sat down and listened attentively. Jiang Hao was also listening. Perhaps listening to Kendo's teachings might teach him something more. Then, Kendo began to explain a technique related to the lifeblood refinement realm. It was a strange technique. As far as Jiang Hao knew, the lifeblood refinement realm was divided into static and dynamic techniques. What Kendo taught was related to swords and magical treasures. This method was much faster and more convenient. However, there were pros and cons to it. If one became dependent on it, it would affect subsequent cultivation realms. However, if he could quickly adapt to his own cultivation technique, he could be 20% faster. 10 years of cultivation would be reduced to only 8 years. As Jiang Hao listened, many people began to ask questions. Kendo answered them one by one. However, Kendo seemed a little disappointed. "What is this? Don't be so cautious. Ask anything you like. Any wild questions or ideas you have, you can ask undaunted." Jiang Hao was confused. Why would he say that? However, just as Kendo was about to urge them to ask bolder questions, he saw someone sleeping. Shaoli had fallen asleep again. She was drooling. Kendo was puzzled. He couldn't understand why she had fallen asleep. Little girl, Kendo said. You're right, master. Shaoli was startled awake. She wiped her drool instinctively. Kendo was speechless. Jianghao was speechless too. The others were shocked. They realized that there were many extraordinary disciples here. But they didn't realize someone would dare to fall asleep in the middle of a lecture from a powerful senior. Who was this disciple? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 951. Who are these people? 1. Shaoli sat there cluelessly, and her eyes darted around to make sense of her surroundings. Only then did she realize she wasn't in the Cliff Master's courtyard. She had fallen asleep. She had done exactly what her senior brother had told her to be careful of. Everyone was looking at her, and she was quite worried. She wondered if she would get any food tonight. Would she get dinner tomorrow? What if this senior was a friend of the spirit beast? Would she be fine then? Shaoli's mind was full of questions. Kendo looked in disbelief at her. What's your cultivation realm? Middle stage of the foundation establishment realm, Shaoli said. Are you having a hard time understanding my teachings? Kendo asked. Don't worry. Just tell me the truth. No, said Shaoli. It wasn't boring or anything. Then why did you sleep? Kendo was confused. I'm just sleepy, Shaoli said softly. Don't you want to learn? Don't you want to increase your cultivation realm? Kendo asked gently. Shaoli shook her head. She didn't want to do any of that. Then she caught herself and nodded. Kendo was speechless. He felt insulted. Whose disciple are you? He asked. My master is Ku Wu Chong, Shaoli said. Ku Wu Chong. Kendo first looked at the place covered by the swords, intent in the distance. He felt that it must have been difficult to raise such a disciple. After thinking for a while, he said, Then, let me ask you, do you want to advance to the late stage of the foundation establishment realm? I don't want to, Shaoli said. Kendo was caught off guard. He looked at the child in front of him in disbelief. Are you here to cause trouble? Shaoli shook her head. Kendo frowned. All right then. Tell me what you wish for. My wish. Shaoli's eyes widened. Can you bring my parents back to life? Kendo sighed. No. Tell me something else that you want. Then, Shaoli looked behind her. Don't look at anyone else. Just tell me truthfully what you want, said Kendo. All right. I'll tell you. But you can't get mad at me, said Shaoli seriously. I won't be mad at you, said Kendo. Tell me. Speak freely. He wanted to help this little girl in any way he could. I want something to eat. I feel hungry, said Shaoli. The crowd fell silent. Shaoli's words shocked everyone. Kendo was astonished. Shaoli looked at him. I told you, now you're angry at me. My master is the same too. He always gets mad at me, but says he isn't. Kendo felt that it was his fault. Why do you have to ask her in the first place? Of course, you can eat food here, said Kendo. He felt that this little girl wasn't ordinary. It was a pity he couldn't see her real form. What surprised him even more was that he could see something like a ball of fog on her, but someone was helping to cover it. He was certain of one thing, though. Being her master must be a headache. After that, Kendo looked at Jianghao. He had seen him before and felt that he was not ordinary. Friend, which branch are you from? His sword's intent surrounded Jianghao. I'm from the Cliff of Broken Hearts, Senior, said Jianghao respectfully. You're in the late stage of the Golden Core realm. Yes. Jianghao nodded. Do you want to advance? It'll teach you. Yes. Thank you, Senior, Jianghao said gratefully. Then come. Let me open up the path to the peak of the Gold Core realm for you, Kendo said eagerly. Then Jianghao revealed his cultivation realm and told him what he was confused about. He also revealed his understanding of the late stage of the Golden Core realm. Kendo nodded and then put forward his own idea. Jianghao was shocked. His perception widened. He was about to advance to the peak of the Gold Core realm. Kendo was speechless. Wasn't this too fast? After that, Jianghao expressed his gratitude and left quickly. The others were excited. Some were even more envious. They looked at Kendo in anticipation. Who wouldn't want the opportunity to advance on the spot? Kendo turned and saw a man. He was stunned. There were at least 4 remnant auras on his body. What is this? Jiang Hao heaved a sigh of relief when he reached his courtyard. He wanted to use Blood Wish Path to advance, but he did not expect Kendo to help him first. He had benefited a lot this time. This advancement was logical. It wasn't suspicious at all. Junior brother Han Ming was probably at the late stage of the Golden Core realm. He would still be defeated by Jiang Hao when he returned. Who knew what junior brother Han would feel after missing out on such an opportunity? When Kendo had looked into the distance, as Xiao mentioned the Cliff Master, Jiang had peeked too. It's been almost a year. Why is the Cliff Master still there? He closed his eyes and began to cultivate. In a few days, he would be able to modify his cultivation to the peak of the Gold Core realm. Being at the peak of the Golden Core realm at 41 was still an achievement. He needed to keep a low profile and make it seem like he was still following the Blood Wish path. That way, many people would still feel that he was still using that path to get stronger. Senior Kendo's lectures lasted a month. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 952. Who are these people? 2. Jiang Hao revisited the mines after advancing. There were indeed many benefits. Xiaoli also went there every day, but she fell asleep without fail in the middle of the lecture. Kendo woke her up every time. He always called out her name the moment she fell asleep. Xiaoli cooperated and listened carefully, but she still fell asleep. This is the first time I've seen someone sleep so much. Kendo sighed. Jiang Hao saw Lu Xingchen there as well. He could sense 4 different auras coming from Lu Xingchen. Had he found another remnant soul? He didn't dare use his daily appraisal ability in front of Kendo. Such a powerful person might be able to detect his use of ability. October passed very quickly. Those who listened to Kendo's lectures advanced quickly. The explanation was from Lifeblood Refinement Realm to Immortal Ascension Platform, so everyone benefited greatly. When it was over, Kendo said, "It's very surprising you're up today. You can go back to sleep." "Senior, this is for you." Xiaoli hesitated for a moment before giving a peach to him. "Thank you. You know, I care for you, but I also feel like you're wasting your talent day by day." Kendo sighed. He felt that this child was absolutely unteachable. Xiaoli only cared about food and nothing else. If she were to take her cultivation seriously, she could definitely become stronger than everyone else. When everything was over, Kendo returned to the longevity cursed tree. He took a bite of the peach Xiaoli had given him. "This is delicious. Senior, can't you find something for us to eat?" said Baizhu as she held her grumbling stomach. She had been cultivating here for more than a year, and Kendo often guided her in the way of the sword. Her cultivation realm had improved a lot. In a few decades, she might be able to ascend the Immortal Ascension platform if an immortal path opened up. "This is a gift from someone," Kendo said. "Senior, let me ask you something. Do you think the 12 heavenly kings can become immortals?" Baizhu asked curiously. 12 heavenly kings. Kendo thought for a moment. Overseas has treated the 12 heavenly kings well, but they have never succeeded in becoming immortals. It isn't that they can't do it, but the heavenly king's fortune is just a heavy burden to bear. Even if everything worked in their favor, the heavenly kings might still fail. The struggle is useless. "Why?" Baizhu asked curiously. She knew that the heavenly king's fortune stopped the kings from ascending, but she didn't know why exactly. The 12 heavenly kings aren't just bound to the people. They are bound to the sea. Ascending to immortality is akin to dragging the whole sea realm with them, said Kendo and smiled. The whole sea realm would then become the immortal realm. Why is that? Does the Grand Earth Emperor also have to drag the whole Earth into the immortal realm? Is it the same for the one with the Heavenly Tao Foundation establishment? Baizhu asked. That seemed impossible. Kendo thought for a moment. The Heaven Tao Foundation establishment is based on the power of the heavens and earth. The Grand Earth Emperor is blessed by the mountains and seas. They aren't like the 12 heavenly kings. The kings have a limit. Their combined power is on a whole other level. but the one with the heavenly Tao Foundation establishment and the Grand Earth Emperor harness their innate talent to advance. So, it's very different. Then, they have no hope at all. Baiju couldn't quite believe it. I heard that they have to find someone else to help them. Unfortunately, not many people exist in the world who can help them. It's only hypothetical. Besides, the one who is willing and able to help them would have to open the immortal path by themselves. That was what the sword god told me, said Kendo. Baiju nodded. This information was very important. She had to find a way to use that information to her advantage. However, it was bad. The 12 heavenly kings had never succeeded. They might fail this time too. It is said that the heavenly king's opportunity to become an immortal lasts for 100 years. Even if they can find a person to help them open an immortal path after that, it'll be useless, said Kendo. Baiju was speechless. The requirements for a heavenly king to become an immortal were too severe. It was no wonder they had no hope of becoming an immortal. Around early November, Zhang Hao was thinking about how to gather bubbles for himself. It had been more than a year. Shangguan Qingsu should have already reached her clan overseas. When she activated the golden ring, he would have to go too. Moreover, the dragon cave might be opening soon. He did not expect that he would have to travel overseas again. He hadn't gotten any news yet, so he was in no rush. I wonder if there will be anyone from the north in the gathering. The first time they had participated, Zhang Hao felt that this was not the only gathering Senior Dan Yuan had held. Later, Zhang was added. He was unsure if there were others like Zhang. Zhang Hao didn't think too much about it. He looked at the immortal peach tree. There were only 5 fruits on it. It was already mature, so he appraised it to see if he could activate another incarnation process. He used his divine ability. Immortal peach tree is related to the ancient divine tree, the immortal peach tree. It has a trace of the divine tree's traits, and the fruit is sweet and fragrant. Leave 1 fruit on the tree and use 999,999 spirit stones to set up a spirit gathering array around it. It can activate the divine trace and undergo incarnation. It can withstand the tempering of lightning for 49 days. It can only be stopped by a powerful external force. Within 9 days, it will complete the fusion of the characteristics of the divine tree. There is a 10% chance of it becoming the immortal divine tree. If it fails the incarnation, it'll disappear. The incarnation has a higher rate of success if placed near a divine item. Zhang Hao found that hard to believe. He didn't need to wait for 3 years to reach the ultimate divine form. However, the requirements for a successful incarnation were too difficult. He needed 1,000,000 spirit stones. How many years would it take him to save that much? Even if he sold everything, it wouldn't be worth 1,000,000. Although it sounded difficult, he did have that condition fulfilled. The second was to endure the tempering of lightning for 49 days. Zhang had to know what kind of lightning it was. The third method was to use a powerful external force to complete the fusion of the characteristics of the divine tree within 9 days. How powerful did the external power need to be? Even if all 3 conditions were fulfilled, there was only a 10% chance of success. The tree only had to undergo 1 successful incarnation. It was much more difficult to obtain a divine tree than he had expected. Zhang Hao sighed. He couldn't think about the incarnation of the peach tree for now. In any case, he had to save up spirit stones first. The 200,000 spirit stones he had left were not enough. He couldn't use that for the divine tree and the divine soul of the Holy Master. Zhang Hao sighed and set the matter aside for now. It was better to refine his cultivation realm instead. After a few days, the main golden ring reacted. Shangguan Qingsu had activated the ring. It seems like she has arrived. I wonder if she has talked with the Shangguan clan yet. Zhang Hao decided to wait a little longer. It hadn't been long since they had a gathering. If he didn't contact them, he might not get any information about the Dragon Cave for a very long time. However, there was one thing that needed to be done as soon as possible. Since he could not clone the Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl, he had to try to clone other things. Around mid-November, Hong Yuye appeared in his courtyard. She looked at the peach tree. Zhang Hao heaved a sigh of relief when he saw her. He wanted to ask her about the last incarnation. Hong Yuye frowned when he asked that question. There's indeed a possibility of success, but it might not work. Then I should still try. It's just that I'm not strong enough. Jiang Hao lowered his head. Hong Yuye reached out her hand and pressed it on Jiang Hao's chest. The palm imprint on his chest flared. Jiang Hao sighed in relief. After that, he headed to Devil's Denver. He wanted to go to the blood pool and try to use the Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl to intimidate the blood pool and clone it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report chapter, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 953. Gu Jin might merge with the blood pool at Devil's Den. Jiang Hao drew out a formation and began to walk deeper inside the forest. The red mist dispersed. Jiang Hao walked forward step by step and held the Heavenly Fate Misfortune Pearl in front of him. No one dared to get close to him. It felt as though the place was welcoming him back. Jiang Hao arrived before the sticky ground. He knew that he would enter the blood pool if he continued forward. After hesitating for a moment, he activated Myriad Nature Forest. Unfortunately, his divine ability soon stopped functioning. Something was forming, but it wasn't the blood pool. He continued ahead. Do I have to enter the depths? The deepest place he had ventured into was to get the Earth Extreme Silent Pearl. He didn't know how deep the path went. Unfortunately, Old Man Corpse C is unwilling to cooperate. He had been to the 5th floor of Lawless Tower, but Old Man Corpse C refused to talk to him. If he wasn't curious about the tower, he would have killed himself already. He was just a clone, so it was easy for him to die. He just had to give up on his spiritual will. So far, Jiang Hao had no leverage over him. Old Man Corpse C simply refused to speak. He needed more time. As such, it was impossible to know where he had encountered Gu Jin. Fortunately, Hong Ye had agreed to help him. Otherwise, Jiang Hao wouldn't have dared to come here. He walked in cautiously. He was walking on the blood pool, and the blood water was surging under his feet. It was as if it would devour him at any moment. After a long time, a figure manifested. It was Gu Jin. Jiang Hao was a little worried when he saw him. He worried that this person was evil and would kill him. At this moment, the figure turned to look at him and smiled. Greetings, Senior. Jiang Hao was in the form of smiling Sansheng. He bowed respectfully. We meet again, Gu Jin said. Jiang Hao wanted to ask if he was evil, but he swallowed his words. There were some things he couldn't ask. If he did, he might get into trouble. He decided to pretend like there was no problem at all. There was no need to think about it too much. I want to ask you if there's any other way to suppress Gu Changsheng other than the 100 Nights Curse, Jiang Hao said. He didn't want to ask that, but he had nothing else to ask. Yes, there is. Gu Jin nodded. Go find Divine Tree. As long as the spokesperson stays under the tree, you can use the 100 Nights Curse as a medium to compete with him. That way, you can quickly suppress Gu Changsheng. Divine trees repel each other, especially the Longevity Curse tree. It rejects other divine trees. Jiang Hao nodded. That was something he had not expected to learn. However, it was harder than suppressing the 100 Nights Curse, because it wasn't like he could find a divine tree just anywhere. Up until now, he hadn't seen another tree as strong as the Longevity Curse tree. The Immortal Peach tree could only become a divine tree after another incarnation. So far, other than having a trace of the divine tree's characteristics, there was nothing special about it. He could also ask if there was another divine tree at the gathering. Perhaps others knew something. Gu Changsheng could return one day. It would be quite troublesome if that happened when he wasn't strong enough. As long as he blocked the 100 Nights Curse and Gue successfully suppressed him, everything would be okay. She could also keep tabs on Gu Changsheng from time to time. Senior, you're affected by the blood pool, right? Asked Jiang Hao. Can you become one with it? Not yet, Gu Jin said. Jiang Hao lowered his head. That meant that it would happen in the future. If he successfully cloned the blood pool, would Gu Jin be affected by it? Jiang Hao wanted to appraise it. After bidding farewell to Gu Jin, Jiang Hao walked inside. Before, he didn't care. After all, he had walked this path before. However, he felt worried at that moment. If Gujin was triggered, it would be dangerous. Luckily, he did not encounter anything. This place was still like a tidal wave. Jiang Hao turned to look at the blood pool, and runes appeared before his eyes. With the heavenly fate misfortune pearl in hand, Jiang Hao's progress was smooth. There were a few times when he felt that the blood pool was targeting him, but it retreated. 3 days later, the power in his chest rapidly depleted. The heavenly fate misfortune pearl in his hand seemed to suppress everything. Jiang Hao saw blood before his eyes. However, he did not suffer any injuries. At that moment, a sea of blood appeared before his eyes. That was his limit. Jiang Hao stretched out his hand, and a blood-red lake appeared. He used the universe in a palm ability. Purple energy burst forth and covered the lake. In the end, the purple energy returned and gathered into a pearl in his hand. It's done. Jiang Hao wiped the blood from the corner of his eyes. He felt that this divine ability was very harmful to his eyes. He needed a lot of time to recuperate. He appraised it. Blood pool. The blood pool that created the heavenly fate misfortune pearl. It is a part of the blood pool itself and contains all the misfortune and curse of the world. Similar to the heavenly fate misfortune pearl, this could be used to control the blood pool and also allow the power of the curse of the blood pool to approach the heavenly fate misfortune pearl. There's a trace of Gujin too. He is divided into evil and good. His evil aspect is compatible with the blood pool, and his good aspect is too far away from his main body to suppress it. The seal needs to be suppressed with purple energy for a month. Otherwise, the evil spirit will develop consciousness and break through the seal. The evil and good aspects of Gujin, how strong is he? Gujin had almost become a part of the blood pool. It was no wonder he hadn't merged into the blood pool right away. Once he was unable to control his evil aspect, something big might happen. If he merged with the blood pool, his evil and good aspects might blend together, and he might finally become a normal person. Jiang Hao didn't know if his guess was correct, but he couldn't ignore Gujin's strength. Then, he disappeared from his spot. Jiang Hao took out the clone of the blood pool with him when he returned to his courtyard. He felt that it might really be useful. He prepared to travel overseas. He had to think of a way to advance to the peak of the Immortal Ascension platform. Who else has high-grade spirit herb seeds now? Jiang Hao thought for a moment before looking for Bai Yi. Since the other party wanted to befriend him, he would get him a chance. As long as he could get 200 high-grade spiritual herbs, he would do away with the sealing technique he had placed on Bai Yi. At night, Bai Yi was gazing at the stars when he frowned suddenly. "What's wrong?" Lian Qin asked curiously. "My luck. It seems to have turned," said Bai Yi eagerly. "I feel good, but I don't know how it happened." He felt uneasy. The next day, Lian Qin found out that the spirit herb garden of the Cliff of Broken Hearts needed some high-grade spirit herb seeds. Bai Yi knew his chance was here. The day had finally arrived. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.